hear The Stand on demand. Just go online to crawfordbroadcasting.com. Click on the Stand button and look for the title of the commentary you want. You can then click on it to read, print, listen, or download as an MP3. And they're right there on the Stand page at crawfordbroadcasting.com. The Crawford Stand is a public affairs presentation for God and country.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Lady of blessed acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions.
I just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does a Positive track radio on the Plymouth work?
It just does. Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, and Jeff Kitty is with me today. So good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, John.
And I want to say a special thanks to Steve and Dennis last week, especially Larry also, especially those guys filling in for me last week as I was out of town. For those of you that maybe didn't know, my son-in-law, who actually had been on Drive Radio numerous times in the past, was actually one of our most faithful, I guess you could say, international listeners. Paul listened on a pretty regular basis, especially when he was feeling well. And I always get a text message from Paul during the show about something, and it was always fun to have. But he passed away, stage 4 cancer here, actually the day before Valentine's Day. So we were up last week for his memorial service and helped my daughter and all the different things that go along with that. So anyways, those of you listening, I appreciate all of the kind words that I've received, some of the emails, some cards, and of course, Dennis and Steve filling in last weekend on short notice because it really came up. You know, you kind of think that, Jeff, that, well, you kind of know the end is coming, but you really don't, because even in those situations, he was doing really, really well, and then all of a sudden just went downhill really fast. So it happened really all of a sudden. And some would say, well, gosh, you should know. Well, you don't.
You don't. There's only one guy that does.
Exactly. So anyways, we'll take your calls, though. 303-477-5600. Again, Jeff Kitty from Larry's Automotive and Transmission is with us today. A couple of things I wanted to make note of real quick is Jeff noticed today I drove in a brand new 2016 Canyon with a V6 diesel.
It's a looker.
Pretty cool truck, actually. The V6 diesel, and getting 29 miles to the gallon. I'll talk more about that as we go through the show. We'll do a full review on it this weekend. You'll see that up on the YouTube channel coming later this week. The other truck that we get this next week, which I'm really looking forward to, not that this one hasn't been fun, but the new Titan diesel I also get next week. So back-to-back diesels.
I've had a couple questions from customers on that. What is it?
We will know for sure next weekend. I'll have a full rundown on it. I'll actually have it. I'll drive it down next weekend, and that'll be an interesting. I'm really looking forward to that vehicle. So lots of things going on. You can find all of our car reviews at our YouTube channel, all one word, Drive Radio, or just go to our website, drive-radio.com. There's links there. We put up all the latest reviews. They come right up on actually the homepage or the auto review section of the website. You can find everything there, plus everything about all of our sponsors. And I want to say a special thanks to all the different sponsors that we have. And this is how great sponsors are, Jeff. So Paul Leuenberger, who we just had on that weekend of Valentine's Day, once he heard everything about my son-in-law, who's also named Paul, I got a really nice, kind email from Paul Leuenberger, and, hey, John, if you need anything, let me know. And you know what, Jeff? That's because of the type of people we have here at Drive Radio.
We're all that way.
It's really cool. I heard from lots of different people inside of our group here, and it's just great. We have a great big family, and I appreciate it very much. Let's go to Paul in Golden, who's up next today. Actually, you're first today, Paul. What's going on, sir?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Paul.
I'm just saying, I'm having a great day because of Napa Auto West, North Napa Auto Arvada West
Arvada West Auto. Yep.
And they did a great job on my car. They helped me with my emissions. Can I blast a place on the radio that did brake work and they didn't do brake work good?
You feel free. Go for it.
It's Sid's on South Golden Road. He did some brake work on my car, and the Arvada
West Truck and Auto.
place, they straightened it out. And I mean, these people, I went in there and they treated me like I was family.
That's right.
They went out of their way to make me feel
That's right.
welcome, and they did their job. They did a great job, and I'm not having any problems solving with the car.
Awesome.
And they just did a fantastic job.
That's awesome. Paul, I really appreciate you saying that. Thanks so much for that phone call. You enjoy your weekend. And by the way, it is an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous Colorado day. If you've not been outside yet, you're missing out. I don't know why we're in here, Jeff.
This is like $1 million view.
These are the days I wish we had a studio outside because it's just absolutely gorgeous out for the end of February. You wouldn't know it. Now, here's a little tip for you, though. Don't take off those snow tires or your winter tires yet.
Not yet.
Winter's not over yet.
We're in Colorado.
That's right. We could have snow. We could have this really, really nice weather like this, and about the middle of March, have winter come back. And you know what? I've seen winter here last all the way into mid to late April. So stranger things have happened. We may not get any more snow. We may get a lot more snow. We have no idea.
March is normally our wettest month.
Well, and the El Nino thing that they've predicted is they actually were following right along with some of the early predictions. They said, listen, we'll have some snow early on. There'll be a little bit of a dry spell. We get into late spring, or early spring, I should say, late winter, early spring, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it come back. So we still have the chance for some weather. So don't take all those snow tires off at this point. Bruno is up next. Bruno, welcome, sir.
Yes, my condolences to your loss in your family.
Thank you, Bruno. Appreciate that very much.
Anyway, on a 2004 Volkswagen Passat with a 1.8 turbo in it, I was wondering, when it starts cold, only in a cold start, it has some funny, funny noise I cannot put a finger on. It's first a little bit of clattering, but not valve clattering, something making noise up front where the engine is, of course.
Okay.
And then it kind of goes into a hissing noise and kind of a little bit of whistling. And then it all dies down after the latest 2 minutes.
And it's okay the rest of the day after that?
Yeah, it does. Once the engine is warm, it does not sound that way at all anymore.
And is this a new noise, Bruno, or is it something that's just you've gotten louder as time has gone by, or what?
Well, I first discovered it was about at the beginning of the year, but now it just doesn't go away. And it's got a new turbo in it under the previous owner, so I cannot put the finger on that either.
Now, how long have you owned the car?
A year, and it's got now 83,000 miles on it.
Okay, do you think, and this is something where you'd really have to have somebody listen to that when it's in the cold start, that could actually just be the how do I want to say this? Those diesels will actually do a sort of regenerative, if you would, to where it'll actually help the engine warm up faster, and they do that through the turbo wastegate and so on. You don't suppose that's just the noise you're hearing, is it?
It's not a diesel. It's a 1.8 gas.
Oh, it's a gas engine. Okay, I'm sorry.
Turbo. Yeah.
Then you've got something else that's making noise there, but it's only in cold start. Never does it the rest of the day.
Yeah, I put already a BG 44K in it and MOA, and it wouldn't go away either.
Does it sound more of an, is it more of an exhaust noise, or is it a actual engine noise, or can you tell?
Well, I thought first an exhaust manifold also, but I just cannot put a finger on it. I'm not too familiar with that engine, unfortunately.
What I would do with that, Bruno, and one of the guys that we've got in the group that I know is over in your area, one of our best guys, is take it over to Gino's and have those guys listen to it. You're going to have to leave it overnight where they can go out first thing in the morning, have a listen, and determine what's going on. But I would do that, Bruno. Make an appointment, take it in there, drop it off in the evening, and then have them listen to it the next morning.
Okay. Any idea? Do you have any VW specialists in your area?
Yeah, that's where I'm sending you. Go over to Gino's and have them listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, Bruno.
I'll
Thanks so
do
much
that.
for your phone call. We appreciate it. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Any questions you've got, give us a call. We'd love to chat with you. Don and Morrison, you're next, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
And condolences to you.
Thank you, Don.
I'm not sure I've got an intelligent question, but I'll give it a stab. It has to do with just kind of a general idea and understanding about the electric cars
Sure.
and the future and advantage over diesel gasoline fuel cars. Kind of always thought that, gosh, if you could power up on your solar system in your house, you'll charge up your own car overnight when the power draws low on the grid, that nationwide, macro, big picture, that might be an intelligent route. But I have heard some things how batteries for these lithiums and such are really expensive to recycle properly and to create in the first place, and that there's no, what's the word, the equation's not even favorable for electric cars in some way.
You are
let's say.
100% correct. In fact, I did a little blurb on this a couple of weeks ago here in the afternoon show that I do, and there's actually there's a great explanation of this. In fact, if I can find all of my cord to actually hook up, I might do that yet today. There's a great video explanation, good audio with it from Prager University, where they actually talk about the particular, savings, if any, on that particular, on your model of what you're talking about, whether it be a hybrid or whether it be a total plug-in. And the reality is, over the lifetime of the vehicle, what you're talking about in regards to getting the batteries actually, manufactured, the energy that it takes there. Bottom line is, if you're trying to reduce carbon footprint, quote unquote, by buying an electric car, you're really not at the end of the day.
Well, personally, I'd like to get that and listen to that.
You know what? What I will try to do here is, during this break, there's a cord floating around here I have to go grab that we use during the week. I'll go grab that cord and see if I can find that video and play it for you.
Okay, or even just announcing where we go look at our off time.
Well, you know what? Hang on. Give me 1 second here. I can probably pull that up for you real quick. If you just go to, I think it's Prager, P-A-R-G, so it's P-R-A-G-E-R-U, so PragerU.com. If you go there, they've got a list of videos that they basically have on there, and you can find one on electric cars. In fact, it's right on the homepage right now, and it says, "Are electric cars really green?"
Yeah, that's really the question. That's great. I had heard that sort of thing before.
It's a great little video audio deal, and it's sort of a cartoon that you watch that explains all the different things that are going on. And I have said this for years and years, and I've yet to have anyone yet. I've been doing this I think I've been saying this for at least 10 years now, and I've yet to have anybody prove me wrong. Here's the reality. Anybody out there that thinks buying any new car is going to save the planet, they are wrong. Well, if you're a guy that really believes in climate change, carbon footprint, and all of that, if you think going out and buying a new car that gets better fuel economy versus what you're driving now. So let's say you got a car that gets 15 miles to the gallon. Let's just be really on the wild side and say it gets 15 miles to the gallon. You think going out and buying a new car that gets 35 to 40 is really going to save the planet. The amount of energy, fuel, and resources it takes to build the new car, you could drive your existing old car for the rest of your life and not exceed what it's going to take to build the new car.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I'm not that guy. I don't believe in the global warming trend.
Me neither. Me neither. But but it's a good example to share with people that think they are, because what you have to think about is all of the infrastructure and everything that it takes that you pour into that new car far exceeds the amount of barrels of oil you would use in the car that's already built that you're driving. Now, am I against new cars? Absolutely not. I mean, by no means am I against them. If you've got the ability, the resources, and the love to buy new cars and do all of that, and you can pay for it, you know what? More power to you. I have no problem whatsoever. My problem is the guys that want to go buy a Prius thinking they're saving the planet when in fact they're not.
Right. Yeah. I just I definitely glad to get that PragerU.
Yeah, it's PragerU.com, and I tell you what, as we go to a break here, I'll go see if I can grab the cord, and if we come back, I'll see if I can just play it for you real quick.
Fantastic.
All right, Don.
By the way, I wondered, do electric cars have kind of a threat to the industry? Are you still there?
Yeah, no, go ahead, Don. Yeah.
Oh, well, for example, if you had electric cars, you wouldn't really need a muffler shop,
True.
See that being a
True. I mean, they will. What'll happen is, if things continue to switch over to electric, and I'm one that says, I think that's a stretch. You'll have some of them in the mix. You're going to have some hydrogen cars in the mix, and you're still going to have a lot of diesel gasoline engines in the mix. Now, what'll happen is if everything overnight shifted to electric, well, those cars are still going to have maintenance that needs to be done. You're still going to have batteries to deal with. Yeah. You're still going to have brakes and tires and shocks and suspension and alignments and steering components, and all of those things are still there. Yeah, there are some things eliminated, like you say, on the muffler. But here's the reality also on new cars. When it comes to muffler work on new cars, exhaust work on new cars, it's almost nil anymore anyways, just because of how good the quality is.
Right.
So it's not a. That's partially why you don't see muffler shops on every corner anymore, because we don't need them anymore.
Hadn't paid attention to that. So right on. Good talk. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Don. Appreciate the phone call, and I'll go grab that cord here in just a second and see if I can play that. So let's do this real quick. Let's, Mindy, take a real quick break. I'll go see if I can find the cord, and we'll play that as soon as we come back. How's that sound? Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, Jeff Kitty. Drive Radio. Phone number 303-477-5600 right here on KLZ 560.
When the temperature starts to drop, it helps to have a legend under the hood. No, not the kind that swings a giant axe and enjoys the camaraderie of oversized cattle. We're talking Napa Legend and Legend Premium Batteries. Buy one today, and you'll get up to a $20 prepaid Visa card by mail. That's $20 back, and the comfort of knowing you're riding along with a real legend. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores, while supplies last. Offer expires 2/29/16.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Check to see that exterior and interior lights work and headlights are properly aimed. You can do it yourself or have any Colorado Select Car Care Center take care of it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we don't try to impress you with a waiting room with a big screen TV and lattes. What we will do is give you good service and expert repair. We pride ourselves in being interested in you and your vehicle. We stand behind our work with the power of Napa Auto Care and a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty. And if needed, we do have a customer waiting area. Yeah. At Arvada West Auto for all your repair needs. We are located at 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or call 303-422-1065.
Yeah, the English sounding guy. Yep, okay. Hey, and I was just an autopilot this morning, but I forgot to ask you, how is your daughter doing? And I am sorry, because Larry and I were talking about it last week, because I'm like...
The area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular schedules.
Yeah, because Larry was telling me, because she's got 2 kids, right? Yeah.
Transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and they're warranty.
He's a little kid, yeah.
Even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody
I was going to say, that's got to be hardest on the kids. I can't imagine. So. Sorry.
To do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's automotive and transmission repair. The driveline.
Yeah, because they don't know, and they're innocent. They don't know. And sorry to do this to you, but you got 5 seconds. So sorry, I asked at the wrong time. Yeah. Can't imagine. Are you ready? Okay.
All right, and we're back. Drive Radio. John Rush, host, along with Jeff Kitty. We've got the lines open too, so call us 303-477-5600. So, without further ado, Don, our last caller, wanted to know about electric cars. Are they really as green as they say? Well, we've got a little video with some audio that goes with it that I'm going to play right now. You can't see the video, but you can actually hear the audio, which is pretty good. So this will give you an explanation of what we just got done talking about. This, again, comes from PragerU.com.
Do electric cars really help the environment? President Obama thinks so. So does Leonardo DiCaprio and many others. The argument goes like this. Regular cars run on gasoline, a fossil fuel that pumps CO2 straight out of the tailpipe and into the atmosphere. Electric cars run on electricity. They don't burn any gasoline at all. No gas, no CO2. In fact, electric cars are often advertised as creating zero emissions. But do they really? Let's take a closer look. First, there's the energy needed to produce the car. More than a third of the lifetime carbon dioxide emissions from an electric car comes from the energy used to make the car itself.
especially the battery. The mining of lithium, for instance, is not a green activity. When an electric car rolls off the production line, it's already been responsible for more than 25,000 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions. The amount for making a conventional car, just 16,000 pounds. But that's not the end of the CO2 emissions, because while it's true that electric cars don't run on gasoline, they do run on electricity, which in the US is often produced by another fossil fuel, coal. As growth venture capitalist Vinod Khosla likes to point out, electric cars are coal-powered cars. The most popular electric car, the Nissan Leaf, over a 90,000-mile lifetime, will emit 31 metric tons of CO2 based on emissions from its production, its electricity consumption at average US fuel mix, and its ultimate scrapping. A comparable Mercedes CDI A160 over a similar lifetime will emit just 3 times more across its production, diesel consumption, and ultimate scrapping. The results are similar for a top-line Tesla, the king of electric cars. It emits about 44 tons, which is only 5 tons less than a similar Audi A7 Quattro. So throughout the full life of an electric car, it will emit just 3 to 5 tons less CO2. In Europe, on its European trading system, it currently costs $7 to cut 1 ton of CO2. So the entire climate benefit of an electric car is about $35. Yet the US federal government essentially provides electric car buyers with a subsidy of up to $7,500. Paying $7,500 for something you could get for $35 is a very poor deal. And that doesn't include the billions more in federal and state grants, loans, and tax write-offs that go directly to battery and electric car makers. The other main benefit from electric cars is supposed to be lower pollution. But remember Vinod Khosla's observation, electric cars are coal-powered cars. Yes, it might be powered by coal, proponents will say, but unlike the regular car, coal plant emissions are far away from city centers, where most people live, and where damage from air pollution is greatest. However, new research in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that while gasoline cars pollute closer to home, coal-fired power actually pollutes more, a lot more. How much more? Well, the researchers estimate that if the U.S. has 10% more gasoline cars in 2020, 870 more people will die each year from the additional air pollution. If the U.S. has 10% more electric vehicles powered on the average U.S. electricity mix, 1,617 more people will die every year from the extra pollution. Twice as many. But of course, electricity from renewables like solar and wind creates energy for electric cars without CO2. Won't the perceived rapid ramp-up of these renewables make future electric cars much cleaner? Unfortunately, this is mostly wishful thinking. Today, the U.S. gets 14% of its electric power from renewables. In 25 years, Obama's Energy Information Administration estimates that number will have gone up just 3 percentage points to 17%. Meanwhile, those fossil fuels that generate 65% of U.S. electricity today will still generate about 64% of it in 2040. While electric car owners may cruise around feeling virtuous, the reality is that the electric car cuts almost no CO2, costs taxpayers a fortune, and surprisingly generates more air pollution than traditional gasoline cars. I'm Bjorn Lomborg, president of the Copenhagen Consensus Center.
And there you have it. So I hope that explains the electric car world. And am I against electric cars? I'm a car lover. I'm not really against any car. I'm just one that says, be careful why you're buying a particular car. If you're buying the car because you think you're going to save X, whether that be the planet or, you name it, as this video just talked about, just be careful because you may not always be getting the results that you think you are. I'm one that still says, just buy the car that fits your needs.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, and if that's an electric car, great, so be it. Have fun.
Yeah.
If it's not, though, don't be, and let me rephrase it. If it is, great, don't be out there belittling the folks that aren't driving electric cars, because I see a lot of that. You kind of get these snobbish Prius guys driving around thinking that their stuff doesn't stink because they're driving a Prius. The reality is there are other cars out there, quite frankly, that will get close to the same economy. For example, I drove a brand new 2016 Civic the other day. Their little I think it's 1.8 turbo engine Civic, brand new car for 2016. 37 miles to the gallon. Okay, not far off of the same size you would have to go to in a Prius. You're only off about 5 miles to the gallon different, but you're not having to deal with all the batteries and the rest of it. Plus, it's a better looking car. Sorry, Toyota, but it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so my point is this: just be careful with who you're snobbing or snobbish about when you're buying that new car, because you know what? Just buy the car that fits your needs. That's the bottom line. We talk about that in our car reviews on a regular basis. Get out, drive the car, make sure it fits you. Don't buy a car in emotion, i.e., don't buy a car just because you think you're going to save the planet. Buy the car you need, make sure it fits your needs, and do all your research prior to going into any dealership or any broker. Do your research on the front side so you know what you should buy. Good advice?
And shop around.
And then shop around.
Okay. You might buy the car that you don't think you're going to buy.
Well, that happens a lot, actually.
Oh, I know. If you shop around.
If you shop around and figure out. And again, first thing to do, and I always recommend this, get a yellow pad out, draw a line down it, and put on the left side everything that you need in a vehicle. Then on the right side, put in there the vehicles that fit that need. Then you know what you're going to be shopping for. And there's lots of tools on the internet where you used to have to do all this by hand. You can now look it up online and pretty much figure out what vehicles are going to fit you. In other words, do you need a four-door? Do you need a hatchback? Do you need a small pickup truck or a big pickup truck? On a pickup truck, do you need a half-ton, three-quarter-ton, or a one-ton? Do you need do you need a compact car that gets high fuel economy because it's just you individually driving it most of the time? Or do you have six passengers that are going to ride with you quite often? Okay, all those factors have to come into play. Then you determine what are you going to go out and buy.
Precisely. And I've gotten away, customers come in saying, what would you recommend? What would you recommend? I've just gotten away from it and say, buy what you buy, what you want, what feels good to you. And I recommend that people go rent a car for a weekend.
That's a great idea. We say that all the time, too. If you can potentially get into the vehicle you're thinking about buying and go to Enterprise, National, any of the rental car places, Enterprise being one of the ones that typically is locally, closer to your home. If you can rent that car over a weekend, by all means, go rent the car.
Because you're going to find the blind spots that you didn't know it had. You're going to find, I don't like the way the seat feels. I don't like where the controls for the radio are. I don't like this. I don't like that. It feels kind of sluggish going around the corner or whatever.
One thing I've learned when we start doing these car reviews that I've learned as we've put these on YouTube and the comments come in and so on, what I've learned about cars is it's a lot like politics. Be careful what you bash in the review because you're liable to get lots of negatives. For example, those of you out there that love BMWs, which, I'm not saying I hate BMWs by any means, but, am I a BMW lover? To me, it's a car just like any others. It's got some great features in some areas and not so great in others. The reality, though, on a BMW review, if you mention some of the things that aren't so great, you're liable to get roasted on YouTube because there are BMW lovers out there that think those things hung the moon and there's nothing wrong ever with them. And the reality is every car has pros and cons.
It's just like Chevy, Ford, and Dodge.
Thank you. So, anyways, here's the other thing I think Jeff kind of was alluding to. Don't rely on what somebody else is telling you to buy. No. Whether that's in a review or the cubicle next to you at work.
We're not you.
Drive the car.
Drive the car.
See if it, because here's the reality. In today's world, and I think Jeff would attest to this, there's not too many bad cars made today.
No. They all have their own problems.
That's exactly right.
Some of them have different problems than others.
That's right.
The other thing is what I tell people is if the rental car companies aren't renting them, you probably don't want to buy them.
Yeah, be a little careful with that, though, because in some cases, rental car companies get certain deals on certain models that the manufacturers are either A, trying to unload, or B, want to get out in the marketplace so people can be more aware of the car. So, because, for example, this car I'm driving right now, this little Canyon diesel, the Canyon in general, you're probably not ever going to rent that truck. It's not out there in the marketplace. Some of the Subaru does not do many rental cars. Does that mean Subaru is a bad car? Of course not. They just don't have a huge rental program because they're not a real large manufacturer. Honda, similar to that. They do some rental cars, but not their entire line because again, they're not a huge manufacturer like what Toyota or Chevy or Ford would be. So you're right about that to an extent. Just be careful, because some vehicles will never get rented, will never be in a rental fleet, which makes it tough on some in some cars, Jeff, to actually go out and have one for the weekend.
Like vans.
Exactly. Well, even Subaru.
Yeah.
So what I would tell you in that particular case is you just need to do as much research as you can and put as much seat time in it as you possibly can. And if that means you go to the dealership and say, listen, I'm really thinking about buying car X or car Y, your car Y, I really want to get some seat time in this. I'd like to drive it for 2 or 3 hours to really see what this car is all about. Here's my advice to you on that. If they won't let you do it, find somebody that will.
Yeah.
And then buy the car from them.
Yep.
Right?
Well,
you can't know in a 10-minute test drive.
No, you can't.
And there's so many people that are disappointed after they've done the 10-minute test drive
Or
and buy the car.
Dedicated test drive.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, we went on a test drive with my son, and you have to go down this street, you got to go over here.
Yeah, you don't want that either.
You
want to be able to drive where you want to drive.
Exactly.
And I would recommend for everybody out there that you get the car up to highway speeds, see how it feels at highway speeds. And the reason why I say that is some cars handle differently at highway speeds than they do around the streets, around the city streets. For example, this is one thing I've noticed driving a lot of these new cars. US 36 just got finished. Okay? And they did it in all concrete, with lines in the concrete for traction.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is, depending upon the car, the tire, and the wheelbase, certain cars roll down 36 without a lick of problem. You could let your hand off the wheel and they're straight as an arrow. Other cars, in fact, the one I'm driving right now, love the truck, but Jeff, that's a truck that follows the lines on that road heavily. Yeah. You drive that car down 36. You don't ride that car down 36.
Yep.
So those are the things that I'm talking about, where you've got to get out into some of the routes that you even drive to make sure the car really fits your needs, to your point. That's a good one, Jeff.
Exactly.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, listen to these great sponsors of Drive Radio, and as I always tell you, please use them. Please tell them that you listen to us. That helps them out greatly. And you know what? Just give us some kudos when you do that. So, Drive Radio, Jeff Kitty, John Rush, right here on KLZ 560.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes combustion, which saves cash at the pump. But you lose compression when piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket, with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product that cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as an engine performance restoration that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find a shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You will find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket when you clean your engine with BG.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. His Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-line belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store
15 seconds, guys.
To NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
This is John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Jeff Kitty with me from Larry's Automotive and Transmission. Real quick, Jeff, tell folks where you're at and how they can get a hold of you and what all you guys do there.
Well, we're at 7231 Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster, Colorado. We pretty much do just about anything, it seems like. It's one of those deals, call us and ask us, because we find that we've been able to help quite a few people out with a lot of different things. Try not to do any body work.
Try not to.
Don't do any interior work as far as upholstery and stuff like that.
It's really specialized.
We do heater cores. We do, just about anything that happens.
And transmissions.
Just bumper to bumper.
Awesome.
We appreciate it when listeners come in and tell us that they listen.
Helps a lot.
And we do, if you're a listener, we do have stickers for your windows available to those that ask.
Awesome.
And we love giving those out.
Awesome. Some Drive Radio stickers Jeff is meaning there. So you can find them 303-427-2108. They're up in the Westminster area. Just look them up. You can find them again right on drive-radio.com. All right, a couple of things for you. We do have, this was from Dennis, sent me this from last week. He didn't have time to cover it. So he said, hey, if you want to cover it, do it this week. And I said, hey, sounds great to me. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate that. These are the cheapest cars to own. We'll get into that in just a minute, but I had some news that I thought was interesting, especially to those of you out there listening, and those of you that are listening will know what I mean by this. Volvo plans to start selling cars without keys in 2017. Guess what they're going to use instead?
Smartphone, iPhone.
Yep, you will use your phone to unlock the car. In effect, Volvo says that Bluetooth-enabled smartphones would become the digital keys and there would no longer be a need for a physical key. Our innovative digital key technology has the potential to completely change how a Volvo can be accessed and shared. Instead of sitting idle in a parking lot the entire day, cars could be used more often and efficiently by whoever the owner wishes.
Wow.
Okay. If the Volvo plan works, it would become only the latest in a series of moves in recent years that have struck a blow against their traditional metal key. Even the cheapest subcompacts these days often come with an electronic key fob and a push-button start instead of metal keys. Though they can be expensive to replace, the fobs, in combination with those start buttons, eliminate the danger that a key can become stuck or break off in the ignition lock. I do like the push-button starts. I'll be the first to tell you that. They're pretty slick.
So what happens when you bring that into the car repair facility? Do you leave your cell phone with it?
I'm guessing that there's an app that Volvo will have, and you will be able to give that shop permission then to actually start and drive that car. I'm guessing that's how they'll do that. Interesting, guys.
I think that's going too far.
Well, it may be, but it's coming in 2017. So, and here's the deal. When one starts, it won't be long after that others will be doing the same thing. So if a relative or a friend wants to borrow the car, the owner would electronically send the key to their smartphone, and at rental car counters, it wouldn't be a set of metal keys sliding across the counter. Rather, it would be the silent electronic signal to the renter's smartphone that then gives them the keys. Volvo says it will be trying out the technology starting this spring using the car-sharing firm that operates out of Gothenburg, Sweden Airport, Volvo's worldwide headquarters, which is also in Sweden.
Wow.
So they're going to be trying it. Mindy wants to talk. Go ahead, Mindy.
Okay, there's a couple things. What if I just want to get away for the weekend, leave my phone at home, and disconnect? I feel like then I'm being obligated to.
You'd have to have like your own special phone just for that purpose, I guess.
See, and that's the thing. That's frustrating because now you're telling me how to live my life in that sense.
In a way, they are. Yeah, in a way, they're saying, since you've got this device attached to you all the time, then I guess if you're going to get away from the weekend, you're still going to have to take this with you.
But what do you do with the other people who either do not even have cell phones, or if they do, they don't have a smartphone?
I guess they're not buying a Volvo.
There's people that don't have cell phones.
There are a few.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute. Time out.
My grandmom's sister has no.
So I have not met in the last I don't know how many years, somebody without even a flip phone.
My grandmom's sister, Aunt Bert, she's 93. She doesn't. And
Does she drive?
Well, she broke her arm like 4 years ago, so she's kind of risky, she says sometimes. So she does and she doesn't. But then my other aunt, my mom's sister, she doesn't have they just have a landline, and that's it.
No cell phone.
No cell phone. And
Really?
so I'm just like, there are people who do not have it. And I have a friend, he lives in Iowa, and he refuses to do like internet, anything. So he's never done it. And
He's just totally off the grid, huh?
He's in his late 50s. He just doesn't believe in it. He's just, because I'm 45. Yeah, he's about mid 50s, I think.
Doesn't believe in it.
He doesn't, he's like that doesn't have the need for it. He's never had a job that's required him to do internet. So he just does
Wow.
it. So I'm like, do you cut out this, couldn't there be an option?
So I'm confused. If he cuts the internet out, what does he do for information and all that? Just watches TV and gets whatever information he needs that way, or the newspaper, or what?
Yeah, I guess so.
And someday the newspaper's going away, by the way. That'll be the next thing you're going to see.
It's obsolete. Yeah, but I've known him for over 20 years. He's never, ever done that. He's always had a landline.
I want to rephrase how I said that. I'm not saying the newspaper companies will go away, but the printed newspaper, as time goes by, will start to diminish.
Yeah,
it already is.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't know that, Mindy.
There are people who, so.
That's interesting because in this particular case, Volvo is going to be banking on everybody that buys its car being a smartphone owner.
Well, that could open up a new industry.
Those that don't have one?
Add a key.
Was that a risky move, though, too, on Volvo's part?
I don't know. That's an interesting topic. Anyways, Volvo wants to replace car keys with smartphones. We'll see. We'll track that. We'll know as time goes by what happens there. So don't worry. All right, cheapest cars to own. There are about 23 of these. I want to say maybe 22. So subcompact 2016 Nissan Versa, 5-year cost of ownership $27,765. The fact that the Nissan Versa is the least expensive vehicle to own is not a big surprise, considering it is also the least expensive vehicle to buy, with the base price of just $11,990. The Versa starts off with a manual transmission, roll-up windows, air conditioning, and Bluetooth connectivity. Speaking of smartphones, it's also rated as high as 40 miles to the gallon on the highway, further contributing to the low monetary outlay over 5 years. I have actually sold many a Versa over the years just because of that fact. It's one of the cheapest new cars you can buy. They really are. They're pretty. They're not the best-looking new car. Sorry, Nissan, they're not, but cheapest and functionality-wise, pretty tough to beat. $12,000.
Good commuter.
Think about that, Jeff. $12,000 for a brand new car. There's used cars that will exceed that.
Oh yeah,
even in that segment.
You don't buy a car.
Nope.
That's worth anything for much under $5,000.
Nope, that is a fact. Mike is up next. Mike, welcome.
Hi, how you guys doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for calling, Mike.
Hey, just a quick comment on your electric car thing. Yeah. It's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. A big concern along with the coal-powered car is the fact it's the manufacture and especially disposal of those batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly toxic.
That's exactly right.
Investigate Sudbury, Ontario. It's a manufacturing place for those. And birds won't even fly over that place.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no wildlife there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very toxic thing to build those lithium batteries.
But they're green.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just one comment.
Jeff says, but they're green. Well, really not. They're not. Well, and Mike, one thing you're bringing up, Mike, that really doesn't get talked about hardly ever is the disposal or the whatever you want to call it, the rejuvenation, the recycling, exactly what happens at the end. And my feeling on that is we haven't got there yet because there's not enough of them out there where we really know the impact on that yet.
Well, now you see your little batteries like you put in your flashlight or whatever you see in the store, and they're saying, well, made from 2% recycled batteries. Whoopee.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal. 2% is nothing.
Yeah. But anyway, I just got in on the tail end of your conversation, change the subject real quick. What was the Nissan you were
the Versa. Nissan Versa. Cheapest car to own over a 5-year period.
That looks like a large smart car, yeah.
It's actually, believe it or not, it's a lot more roomy inside than when you think. It's actually the same size as, say, like a like a Toyota Corolla, it's roughly that same size. They're actually a lot more roomy than people think. They're not the, and I hate to say it this way, but they're not the best looking car on the road, but they're actually pretty functional.
No, they're not.
They're not.
But that's something to investigate. I'm not exactly really happy with my current commuter, so
it's actually really good. I've sold numerous Versas over the years. It's really a pretty good little commuter car for the price. It really is.
That's good to hear. I'll check it out.
All right, Mike. Appreciate it.
Program, guys.
Thank you very much, sir.
Every week.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the phone call very much. All right, next one, real quick on this. The top cars to own, or the cheapest cars to own, I should say. The next one is the 2016 Toyota Corolla. 5-year cost to own, $30,330. And of course, you get all of the Toyota longevity. Not that Nissan doesn't have that; they do. So both really, really good cars. And back to Jeff's comment a little bit ago, each one has its own little idiosyncrasy. But the reality is, there's not a bad car really made today. They're really, I mean, I drive them all, guys. Literally, I do. Every one of them has their own little quirks, their own little problems, their own little potential mechanical, difficulties. The reality is, they're so competitive today. They've got to be, really within just a hair's edge of each other, or they can't compete and sell them anyways.
Or
It's that
they
simple.
won't be around.
Exactly, or they won't last. So let's do this. Lines are open. Call us. We'd love to chat with you. Any call, any question, we'll take it. 303-477-5600. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your car has up to 24 different onboard computers making repairs.
Larry had a good point. What if your cell phone gets stolen? I mean, people drop it in the toilet. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So does that mean I can't drive my car? See, I mean,
using these specialized scan tools, they can directly connect your car's computer system to the actual manufacturer for instant diagnostics.
But what was your thing about if they put the app in? Can I, steal the car? What did you say?
Faster and always cheaper than the dealerships. Extreme Auto Repair, the most technologically advanced car care center in Douglas County. Tell them you listen to KLZ and they'll take 20% off your bill. Call 303-841-1071, 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker, going to the extreme for you.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sports from Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
Right now at Napa, when you buy 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional oil for just $3.59 a quart, we'll give you either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Hey, wait, what? Well, that makes more sense. We'll give you a bobblehead of either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey
15.
Valvoline for just $3.59 and a free bobblehead. That's Napa know-how. General States pricing, taxes, and recycling fees extra at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires June 29, 16.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Jeff Kitty is also with me. The next car on our list of inexpensive cars to own and drive is none other than the Toyota Camry. 5-year cost to own, $35,681. And most people don't realize this, but if the Camry was its own car company, in other words, if that's all they built were Camrys, it would be in the top 10 of car manufacturers today.
Yep.
Because of how many they've built over the years.
Well, there's just
pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. They have built a ton. And they won Daytona last weekend.
Fantastic.
Toyota and the Camry did. Go figure. Did you watch the end of that race?
No, I didn't.
Oh, It was pretty good. Now, I didn't watch it because we were in Canada up until we left Sunday last week, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. But there was a replay on this week that I caught one evening, so I actually got to watch the whole thing sped up. Different, the boring sections you could speed up, and that was pretty good. It was really a good race. I really enjoyed it. Mike in Thornton has an electrical problem. What's going on, Mike?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
Hey, so this is maybe a little bit complicated question, but we have a race car.
Okay.
And no electrical system in the car. Just has a magneto.
Okay.
We're having problems where we're getting leaks in our radiator. And we sent the radiator back to the manufacturer, and they said, hey, you have an electrical problem in your car. It's basically, they said electrolysis, but they said, hey, it's basically burning a hole in the center of your radiator.
Yep.
So we're trying to figure out we think it's a ground issue maybe,
Yes.
but how do we check for something like that?
Well, and it would be a ground issue. The way you check to see if there's electrolysis going into the coolant itself is just with a regular voltmeter. You can check to see what the voltage inside the coolant is. Really easy, just to see, how many millivolts, or in your case, it might even be higher than that. How much voltage is actually inside of the coolant itself? You can measure that with just a regular, DVOM. And if you've got that, that means you've got leakage coming from the magneto, most likely down through the engine into the coolant and on, which means first thing I would look at is the engine block grounded back to the battery some way, somehow. Very good. And the chassis grounded.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I know there's not a ground from the chassis to the motor, but there is no battery in the system at all.
Right. I'd still ground it because the magneto can still throw off. Well, it is throwing off an electrical charge.
Correct.
So I would ground that. Now, the other thing is the way the radiator is mounted, does it have any type of rubberized cushioning or any kind of insulation between the actual radiator and the frame of the car itself, or is it directly a bolt onto the frame?
Directly bolts to the frame.
I'd probably put some insulators in there if it were me.
Okay.
Either use some shock absorber, stud type shock absorber, rubberized mounts, urethane. There's all sorts of ways you could do that, but I would try to insulate that away from the ground, from the ground on the car itself. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So with a voltmeter, what do? Ground to the frame and then
stick it in the water. Yep.
All right.
And in your case, since it's already since the radiator is probably grounded to the frame, you could just go to the side of the radiator and then into the coolant.
Yeah.
Okay. What type of readings should you see? Very minimal?
You want really small millivolts. If they get above about a half a millivolt, you've got issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
And more than likely with you're going to have way higher than that. I'll bet you're going to see regular voltage in it.
Okay.
And it might be different when you're running the vehicle.
Oh, that's a good point, Jeff. Yeah, check it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Check it static, and then check it while it's running also.
And that might be a way to find out if a ground is going to dissipate.
Yeah, good point.
Dissipate through the frame, because you might be able to see a difference in the voltage.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you guys are on the right track, and I will have to tell you this too. First off, I am not a huge magneto expert by any stretch of the imagination. All the racing I did had a battery with a regular, of course, no alternator, but a regular type distributor in it. I'm not a huge mag expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I know you've got to ground it to get some of that voltage that's being shed off. You still have to control that just like you would anything else.
Sure. So we currently got a ground to the motor, but we don't have a ground from the motor to the frame.
I would do that, and that wouldn't be hard for you guys to do. Just run a little ground strap and see what happens.
Okay. All right. Can I ask another question?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Or maybe just make a comment. Jeff had helped me. I got a Dodge with one of the Aisin transmissions in it.
Yeah.
Asins.
Yeah.
Asins.
Yep.
So we had a long conversation about that and ended up just on fluid changes, but I just appreciate his help. He couldn't help us, but he recommended what we needed to do.
Awesome. Very cool. Appreciate it. That's awesome.
Now I know who I'm talking to.
Right on. Thanks, Mike.
Good deal.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
You're very welcome. Let us know how that turns out too, Mike. We appreciate that very much. Mike and Parker. Must be Mike Day. It's the third one in a row. Mike, welcome.
Hey, good to talk to you.
Likewise.
Fantastic.
Hey, I wanted to ask your opinion if you think I should bite on this deal. My brother's selling a 91 Wagoneer. It's a survivor car. Came out of the Wagon World shop. He's asking $18K, and the two concerns I have is one is emissions compliance here. in Colorado. And then the other is, if down the road I'm feeling like I can't hold on to it, and I need to unload it, what's the resale ability of it here in the Colorado area, and what do you think I could get for it if I had to get out from under it?
The last question let's do first. It really comes down to how well you keep the condition up, how clean is it, and then finding that buyer. I mean, some people, and the reason why Wagon World exists is there are people out there that still love that vehicle. They think it's just a fantastic size, shape, and everything else. I mean, I worked on a ton of those things back in the day, and if I ever thought they were ever going to be of anything of value, I probably could have kept every one that, you ever had a chance to buy, because at one point you could buy them for virtually little of nothing. When it comes to the emissions side of the fence, so to answer your first question, it's all going to vary on who you can find as a buyer. Now, that is a niche buyer, no doubt about it. That is something where when you go to sell it, you're going to not do Craigslist, you're going to do eBay. You're going to try to get the word out across the country, not just here in Colorado, to get that car sold. Which means it's going to be a little harder to sell than, say, a Chevy Tahoe. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. Somehow I had in the back of my head there was going to be like 1,500 people in Boulder dying for it.
Nope. They even in Colorado, that vehicle is the reason you don't see a ton of them rolling around in here, is they just still have not caught on and don't have the flair that they've got in other parts of the country for some reason. I don't know why that is, but they just don't have the flair here and even though they sold probably more here than anywhere else, there's just not a huge flair for them at this point. So you'll end up selling that thing most likely outside of this area. Now, on the emissions side of the fence, it's a 91. What emissions devices does it have on it? Because it will have to have whatever it came with on it to pass Colorado emissions.
Yep.
It's got that, but I'm worried about if it needs to blow a certain number, and just knowing that old carbureted vehicles are just...
Yeah, okay, so this is one they've not upgraded. It doesn't have any fuel injection or anything like that. It's just strictly a carbureted old Wagoneer?
I believe so, yeah.
You're going to struggle with it.
Yeah.
You'll struggle up here with it.
That kind of means to me it's not going to pass. I'm going to be stuck with it.
I don't want to say that. I just ran one of our old Fords through yesterday, and didn't pass the first time, so we had to bring it back, do some carburetor adjustments, and then run it back through again. It will most likely still pass, but here's the deal. It will not, as time goes by, pass, because their goal is to get that thing off the road.
Yeah.
Right.
Period. Now, you can add fuel injection, do some things to it to where it would burn cleaner and run better, and actually have better longevity and have better drivability to it, but that comes with a cost.
Yeah, so is that like a $5,000 cost? Or
most likely, yeah, around $5,000.
$5,000,
yeah.
Okay.
And, it's interesting. I'm looking at that website right now, and they've got some on there that are, $59,000, $40,000, $69,000. I mean, good grief. No offense. I wouldn't pay $70,000 for a 91 Wagoneer if you gave me $70,000.
Yeah. If I remember the story from my brother, a lot of those have been reworked and gone through, restored.
Yep.
On some of them. My brother was talking to him, and he just picked up a Survivor car that the guy kind of did a once over on, and, without putting a lot of restoration into it, just said, it's pretty reliable. I mean, about as far as this vehicle is going to go. And he's had it for a year, and he hasn't had to do major stuff, but he did say you got to budget, a certain amount of money a month just to keep the thing alive.
That is a fact. I mean, I'm not exaggerating, but I made a living working on Grand Wagoneers back in the day. So, I had a repair shop. We specialized in four-wheel drive off-road vehicles. Jeep was one of our biggest. Started that shop in 86. And ran it all the way till I sold those shops in 2012. They still exist today. But back in the day, did I work on a bunch of Grand Wagoneers? Well, you can think about how many we had around this area. And I worked on a lot of them. There's not much about a Grand Wagoneer I don't know.
Okay. What would be two shops that I would be good to become friends with if I had this vehicle?
That is a really good question, because there's not a ton of people in this area that are that familiar with that car. I mean, no, I hate to say this, I'm not trying to brag, but you got to find somebody like myself that worked on a lot of those back in the day that are still willing to work on them. And I'll be first to tell you, they were not the easiest of cars to work on for many, many, many reasons. Probably why I would never own one personally. That's just me talking, not saying it's a bad vehicle. It's just one that I worked on enough back in the day. I just don't want to see anymore. No offense. I
hear you. In fact, it's important to take under consideration.
And it's not that it was a bad vehicle. They just had a lot of things in them that AMC could have done much better. Quite frankly, you can go buy an older Tahoe. I mean, you could buy a Tahoe of the same vintage 92 to 95 Tahoe and have twice the vehicle and spend a fraction of the money.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't have the mystique of a Grand Wagoneer, but
Yeah,
you'll
I was
have
going to
twice
say,
the
there's
vehicle.
that love aspect that weighs in on it and messes up the whole equation.
That's right. And that's why some vehicles have that love aspect, and it keeps them on the road, and that's fantastic. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody that's in that world. I mean, that's fantastic. It's just not a vehicle I would own. Send me an email on that. I'd have to do some research and think about who you could actually have work on that. Probably some of the guys in the group would be willing to, but you'd send me an email, and I'll get with you on that.
I will do that. I'm already booted up. Hey, thanks for all
You're
your
very
help so
welcome,
far.
Mike.
Have
Thanks
a
so much
great
for the
weekend.
phone call. Hour number 2 coming up next. We've got to get out of here for this first hour because it's gone. Beautiful Saturday afternoon. Drive Radio coming your way. We'll be back with second hour. Jeff Kitty from Larry's Automotive and Transmission. I'm your host, John Rush, right here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Mobile Estate Planning with Michael Bailey, Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 during ATX. Ask the experts on KLZ 560.
Hi, this is Scott Watley with Sportsman of Colorado. Join us every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Each week, we'll bring you local outfitters and experts on how to make your next outdoor adventure a success. Looking for a place to hunt on your own? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. And we'll also get you ready for the upcoming big game season. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
USA Radio News with Jason Wirt.
Attack the Donald. That has been the plan of Florida Senator Marco Rubio since Thursday's debate. Rubio is now talking about how the media is being kind to Donald Trump so they can later attack him to benefit Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders.
Because they can't wait. They're waiting for him to be the nominee. Then they'll tear him apart. And they'll coronate Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, and that would be a disaster.
The former president of Mexico is continuing his assault on Donald Trump. A day after Vicente Fox used a profanity-laden rant, he told CNN's Anderson Cooper Donald Trump reminds him of Adolf Hitler. Vicente Fox says Trump has offended everybody from Mexico to the Pope. The IRS now says personal information of more than 700,000 accounts were stolen in a cyber attack. The tax agency said Friday information may have included social security numbers. This is USA Radio News.
Kid, this facility is like a ship. So how do I keep us on course without micromanaging every detail? Easy, with Grainger. Grainger's online tools help give me the visibility I need. I can shop, order, and manage all our activity. Oversee purchases, control costs, all while you guys get to order what you need when you need it. I run a tight ship, kid. I run it with Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Learn more at Grainger.com/online purchasing. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Geico applauds your inner road champion.
A solid bump from Geico's fist to yours goes out to the little rebel that lives within. The one who made you daydream as a kid about owning a chopper, chroming it out, and chewing on toothpicks, just to look tough. For you, champ, Geico insures motorcycles with great rates. And to further fuel your engine, you can access your policy anytime, day or night through the Geico mobile app. Because Geico knows that even make-believe renegades need help from time to time.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a full barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question. Watch this. The Chevy didn't make a 327 to 55. The 327 didn't come out to 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with the 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio. Your host, John Rush, Jeff Kitty from Larry's Automotive and Transmission with me. And if you want to call in, lines are open. Feel free to call us, 303-477-5600, although it's so beautiful outside that I
imagine there's a lot of people out there.
I'm not going to blame you if you're not calling. But what I'll tell you is if you've got a question you still want to ask it, send us an email. It's easy to do. Go to our website, drive-radio.com. Click on the Contact Us and fill out the form, or just send me an email directly, John at drive-radio.com, and it's JOHN at drive-radio.com. So going back to the Wagoneer World discussion we had a moment ago. By the way, Dorsey Johnson, so Mike, if you're still listening, Dorsey Johnson, Arvada West, said he'd be happy to work on that vehicle for you, adjust the carburetor, do whatever he needs to make that pass emissions. And what I would say is if Dorsey wants to do it, more power to you. You got to love him for it. Thanks, Dorsey. Appreciate that. I'm just in the back of my mind as I took a little break there at the top of the hour thinking of all the things we used to work on. I used to work on specifically on Grand Wagoneers. Everything from the doors were super heavy, so the hinges would sag, and you'd have to dink with that. The window regulators didn't work half the time. The electricity going, or the electric wires and that, the wiring going to the driver's side that would run all the rest of the electrical components when it came to the windows was always a problem area. Heater cores were never an easy thing to do. The emissions was tough. They leaked oil like a sieve everywhere all the time. They were underpowered. The rear axle always had problems. The quadra-track transmission was junk. The rear window didn't work half the time because the windows would break inside the in the area where the tailgate folds and unfolds. Now maybe Wagoneer World upgrades a bunch of those things I just mentioned. I don't know, but would I pay $70,000 for a Wagoneer? Not a snowball's chance.
Yep.
Nothing against Wagoneer World, but I'm not a Wagoneer fan, so that's just me. Maybe because I worked on so many of them. They tainted me. Let's go to Bob, who's next. Bob, welcome.
Good morning, John. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Bob.
Hey, just here's some comments from a guy who is in the the dealer side of the business, and by virtue of that, over the years, has written a lot of checks to repair vehicles for sale. and add to that 30 years in the mountains. Yeah, I could, you're being very generous and kind to Grand Wagoneers. I go all over the country. From my perspective, and I just actually during the break, I did kind of a quick check online just to verify something. But for whatever reason, they have become a cult classic.
Yes.
But it's limited to the East Coast.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you look around, and I mean, that was kind of my perspective, but I just went and did a quick search online just to see if I was right on there. But yeah, you see them in Connecticut, you see them in New York, and for whatever reason, they just sort of do it. But yeah, your list of problems is kind of limited. Our rule of thumb used to be there were fantastic cars until about 39,999 miles.
Yeah, that's it outright too.
At that point, you lost the engine.
Yeah.
And I just read one ad for this guy, apparently sells a lot of them. He says, the technology was considered dated when they were built. This is because
they were. They were. I mean, think about it. People don't realize this. It was the last vehicle on the planet in the US of A to receive fuel injection.
Yeah. Well, and I was never a big AMC fan. Now I will say that I did own an Eagle, and I have nothing bad to say about that particular car, and we owned it when we lived up in the mountains full time. But yeah, as far as the Grand Wagoneer, I mean, did you touch on the rust?
No, I didn't even say anything about that. I will say this: the reason they sold so many of them, especially in this area, and I used to remember watching the Jeep dealer next door. Just those things would roll in off the transport trucks, and they'd roll right back out. It was at the time the only 4-door luxury I guess you could call it an SUV. They didn't call them that back then, but it really was the only luxury SUV of its day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at that point in time, Suburban had not really, Suburban was utility and functional. It wasn't,
That's right.
Wasn't dressed out in FBI.
No, in fact, I had an 87 back in the day. Now, it did have fuel injection, so it actually worked pretty well and actually was a better vehicle than the Grand Wagoneer. But to your point, Bob, it didn't have all of the fancy leather and, you couldn't get all the adjustable power seats and, all the things that Wagoneer had that it became really famous for. Yeah, you couldn't get that anywhere else.
Right, plus the wood grain, John.
Oh, yeah, you got to have the wood grain. That's exactly right. And these, by the way, these ones from Wagoneer World, they've all got, I don't know where they're buying wood grain, but they've all got brand new wood grain on them.
Yeah, well, like I said, I heard that. I started laughing as I started remembering some of it, but you stole some of my thunders. You start giving the line.
I'm sorry. When I was actually using the restroom there at the top of the hour, and the entire time I'm thinking to myself, okay, these are the things I used to fix on a regular basis. And I just went through kind of a quick list. I had one in the shop, but this is not an exaggeration. There was one in the shop all the time. There was never a day you went that there wasn't a Grand Wagoneer in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I was young, I had a thing for British cars, and I'm reminded of the XJs. And at that time, I was in Maryland, and I'm sorry, the XJs. I'm sorry, the XKEs.
Okay.
And those were wonderful cars, and you could drive them for at least half an hour before they overheated. And that was on a 70-degree day in Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just sat by the side of the road and let people admire your car while they drove by.
That's right. The Wagoneers weren't a whole lot different in that respect. And the other thing, Bob, we didn't talk about this much, but they were so underpowered, they wouldn't get out of their own way.
Yeah. Anyway, rough back some memories.
Oh, yeah, it has. That's a fact. So Mike, the caller earlier, thanks for bringing back memories, because we're going to now have a few calls on Wagoneers. I can assure you of that. So that's good. Bob, I appreciate the phone call very much.
All right, take care.
You bet. Take care. Good, faithful caller. I like Bob. He sends me stuff even off air, and really, really appreciate his faithfulness and listening. Really do. Don, you're next in Denver. What's going on, sir?
John?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard anything about this stop-start technology with these?
Yep. A lot of new cars are coming with start-stop technology, not even just luxury cars, but it's becoming very common on a lot of vehicles, especially vehicles where they're trying their hardest to get a little more fuel economy out of the vehicle. It helps the CAFE rating for that model. They'll put start-stop technology, they call it. For example, even the new little Jeep Cherokees now have start-stop technology built into them.
Well, that seems pretty stupid to me. Of course, I don't know much about cars, but why would you want the engine to shut off when you stop, and then when the brakes released, ready to go, it starts up again?
Fuel consumption, because you're not idling the car at idle at a stoplight, just sitting there burning fuel. Believe it or not, you could pick up a mile or two to the gallon on that particular model with the start-stop technology.
So that's what it's all about.
It's all about fuel economy.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's the only thing that's doing. And you can turn it off. So those of you that don't like it, so if you buy a car with start-stop technology, I wouldn't avoid a car with it. In fact, those of you out there listening, maybe you should think about this a little bit. Those cars that have start-stop technology have heavier starters and better batteries than their counterparts do. Why? Because of having to start and stop more frequently, they put a much heavier starter in the car, and they come with a heavier duty battery. Now, you can turn the technology off. They've all got a manual override, where if you don't want that thing shutting off at a stoplight, you just turn it off and away you go. So honestly, would I avoid one? No. In fact, I'd probably buy one with it. Even if you didn't want to use it, turn it off. You've got a vehicle that's probably going to have a starter that will outlast any other vehicle like it 2-to-1, because they plan on it starting and stopping so much. Make sense?
Yeah, and I think it has an automatic shut off on it too if the battery gets too low.
Exactly. Or if it's a certain temperature outside, hot or cold, it will still continue to run at the stoplights and so on. It's actually pretty intuitive as far as how they work, and a lot of vehicles now come with them. Scott in Platteville, you're next, sir.
Hey, how you doing, John?
Doing great. Thanks for calling us.
Yeah, I got a question for you. I got that 97 Ford F-250. It's got the 7.3 Power Stroke in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the automatic transmission. It's 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
It's done it to me a couple times where actually this time my engine light came on, and then on the shift, the indicator shift where you shift it into overdrive and it has off switch there on the gear selector.
Mm-hmm.
that thing started flashing. And then it actually went into a limp mode on me once, but then when I shut it off, it clears and then it runs fine again. But you have any idea what that might be? Is that just a fluid change on the transmission, or is it some sensor? Or?
Well, you need to find out why that light's coming on. And I can't remember. Do those have memory?
No.
97?
No memory there.
You need to find out why that light's flashing and then address that problem. It could be anything from a solenoid didn't fire right, or something didn't happen quite right and it flashed the solenoid. It could be a torque converter issue. It could be a couple different things on that.
Okay. Yeah, because it's done it to me once before, but I never had the engine light come on. But I've been stopped. It usually does it like when you're stopped at a stoplight, and it's done this to me before, where you press on the accelerator. You know, the accelerator's electronic, and there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden she'll take off on me. Would that be something to do with the torque converter? Or
well, it could be something to do with the throttle position.
That's right.
Something with that. It's given a mixed reading on that.
So I just got to find somebody with a reader then to read that.
Well, you could bring it by the shop and we can take a look at it and see if we can figure out what's going on with it. There might be a telltale sign there that might give us an idea what's going on. I would probably, on that year of vehicle, I'd probably check the connectors at the transmission and so forth, and just make sure that you're not getting some corrosion at some of those connections.
I see.
We see a lot of that now.
Okay.
Either that
doesn't have much.
Either that, or do you live kind of in a remote area, or?
No, I'm out east here, east of Platteville.
Okay, a lot of mice, rodents.
It's in the garage all the time, and my garage is heated. It's pretty clean.
Okay, should be good there then.
Okay,
good.
Yeah, you need to check over some stuff and see if you can get it to act up and find out what it's doing. So we need to probably catch it when it's acting up. Put a scanner on it and see what we got.
So that computer on there, is there one on the transmission so you can actually, if I bring it to your shop, you might be able to pull something then?
We might be able to pull something out. It wouldn't take us very long to do. If something's there, we can probably get a better idea what's going on and go work from that angle.
So then on that transmission, I mean, it doesn't have anything for miles. I only have 64,000 miles on that truck.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. Should you change how often should you change it every 30,000 on there? I was looking in the maintenance book and I saw 60,000 mile interval, but I didn't know what you recommend on that. That's a
A4OD, aren't they called?
No, that'd be a E4.
Sorry,
E4OD or 4100. Pretty much the same transmission. The biggest problem that you've got is probably not enough miles in between, so you've got a lot of mileage.
Yeah.
It would almost be considered a severe condition, and I'd probably get that fluid changed out.
Okay.
If it were me.
Yeah, I think it needs a fluid change because, I mean, it sets. I use the truck just basically for pulling my horse trailer around.
Got it.
Yeah.
And, so
if on that transmission, if you're pulling anything with it at all, depending upon how many miles you're doing, I'd either change it annually or biannually.
Yeah, if you're doing a lot of towing with it, it's not a bad idea to have it checked annually, and like John said, do it biannually.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
All right,
so
Scott.
your shop's in Westminster.
Westminster, 7231 Bradburn Boulevard. Phone number is 303-427-2108.
Okay, and what was the name of it again?
It's Larry's Automotive and Transmission.
Larry's Auto and Transmission.
And by the way, you can find all that on our website, Scott. Yeah. It's at drive-radio.com. All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break. Wally, call us back. We'll get you right on the phone. This is pretty bad when my wife is talking about the Grand Wagoneers, who's not a technician, and one of her comments is viscous couplers.
Oh.
Yeah, we did a lot of those too.
They still use them.
I know, but those were bad. And here's the thing about those Grand Wagoneers. When the viscous coupler would go out, people thought that I knew transmission shops that would put transmissions in those things, thinking that's what the problem was when it was the viscous coupler that was bad. And I'm surprised Jeep never got sued, because when the viscous coupler would go out, the Jeep would roll.
Yeah.
Literally, they would roll. It would roll backwards down a hill if the cup. How they ever didn't get sued over those, it's beyond me. But anyways, we'll take a quick break. Wally, we'll come right back. Don't go anywhere. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
When the temperature starts to drop, it helps to have a legend under the hood. No, not the kind that swings a giant axe and enjoys the camaraderie of oversized cattle. We're talking Napa Legend and Legend Premium Batteries. Buy one today, and you'll get up to a $20 prepaid Visa card by mail. That's $20 back, and the comfort of knowing you're riding along with a real legend. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores, while supplies last. Offer expires 2/29/16.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you've tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada. Or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, 303-422-1065.
The new gasoline direct injection engines, also known as GDI, are the hottest new improvement to horsepower and fuel efficiency in this century. Service professionals agree that GDI's unique power requires unique GDI maintenance. BG Products has the most current and effective GDI.
Hey, John, Pam, your caller lady, she's on line 1. I'm going to put her on. Okay. Okay.
That's bgfindershop.com. If you have an engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters. BG.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Dirty oil is especially hard on your engine in winter. Do it yourself or stop at any Colorado Select Car Care Center, and they'll not only do it for you, they'll also give your car a quick safety inspection. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners or ASE certified master technicians driven to provide exceptional
10 seconds, guys.
Minimum a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
All right, John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560, and we have our special guest coming up here in just a few minutes. Pam Oakes is going to talk about Takata airbags. In the meantime, though, Wally called in. Let's get him going real quick. Wally, welcome to Drive Radio. What's going on, sir?
Oh, yeah. My son last fall bought an 07 Tundra. It's got just over 100,000 miles on it.
Okay.
He noticed that it wasn't shifting right, took it into the Toyota dealer, and because it's a closed transmission, they put their scanner on it, and they said it came up with A, B, and C codes, which tells them that it needs a full replacement. He's getting quotes everywhere from $4,000 from Toyota for a rebuilt transmission with a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty to the local AMCO shop, which is at about $1,400 for the soft parts, and then any additional hard parts that they may have to do. And their warranties range from $18,000 and $25,000 up to 3 years and $36,000. And he just doesn't know what to do. And I said I'd call you guys.
Well, and where's he at again, Wally? What part of the country?
Well, unfortunately, he's in Miami. So if you guys know somebody down there
well, here's what I would do. The way I would look at that one, not knowing anybody in the area, the way I would look at that is go to Jasper's website, Jasper Transmissions, and see who they've got for a dealer in that area. And I would put a Jasper remanufactured transmission in, and I would go that route if it were me.
Okay.
If you're up here, I'd say go see Jeff. But in this particular case, since he's at a distance, they've got a great remanufacturing process. They've got a great warranty, nationwide warranty. I've used Jasper for years and years, Jeff. I know even in certain cases you still do. Yep. It's a great company, great product. You can't go wrong using them.
Okay.
Okay.
I knew you guys would have an answer for
If you need any other help, Wally, you know how to get a hold of me. Let me know what you need, and I'll help you any other way I can. But I think that's the first step.
Okay.
Okay, Wally. Thanks so much for your phone call. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Pam Oakes is joining us next. She is an automotive expert, ASE automotive professional, I should say, and a recall expert. So, Pam, I had you on earlier on Rush to Reason. Welcome to Drive Radio now.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
That's great. Appreciate it. Enjoying coming on with us. So talk to our listeners real quick about what's going on with Takata. We have all heard about the airbags and the recalls, and you and I talked a little bit in the week about this, but different audience today. First of all, tell us about Takata and what's going on when it comes to their recall.
Well, Takata's in a heap of trouble with the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And basically, there are millions of vehicles out there that need to have their airbags replaced because of Takata's shortfall in manufacturing this part properly. As a matter of fact, up to date right now, only 28% of the recalls have been fulfilled.
Wow.
And that's bad.
Wow.
Really, really bad.
And you talked during the week too, Pam, that you gave a number of around 130 million. Is that number still pretty true?
Well, right now it's about 28 million of the inflators are under recall by 18 manufacturers. But they're talking about upping that number to about 120 million, which is a little less than half of the vehicles on today's roads.
Okay, 120 million. Yeah, that's a huge numbers. Now they haven't yet, but they're in talks about doing that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And this all goes back to when Takata made the airbag. They actually use ammonium nitrate, fertilizer basically, the explosive to pop that bag out of the steering column or the dash, depending upon if they made that specific bag or not.
Right.
Some have, some haven't. And the canister is porous. Now, all they had to do, and the engineers already said, yes, this is what we had to do. All they had to do is put a coat of paint on that canister to keep the moisture getting inside that propellant.
That's it, huh?
That's all they had to do. And basically now moisture has gotten in there, and unfortunate for quite a few individuals out there, that propellant is even more explosive. So it's not only pushing the airbag out, which it's supposed to, but it is so powerful, it's actually breaking up the housing of the airbag, and that's what's impaling people.
Right. It's like it's like shrapnel coming out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do people go about finding out whether their car or vehicle
Great question, Jeff. Great
is
question.
affected, and what's the process to get it remedied?
It is so simple. First of all, go to safercar.gov, or call your local dealership. Give them your vehicle identification number. It's on your insurance card. It's on the inside of the driver's door jamb. It's on the driver's windshield, the lower corner there. Give them that number, and they can tell you if your vehicle is under this recall.
Yep.
This sounds like something we should be doing for our customer.
Yeah, actually, as repair centers, Pam, and what Jeff just asked is, repair centers should actually be doing that for their customers. And yes, we should be doing that. So that's something that we as a group of auto cares here in the Denver area will start talking about, because that's something that your provider could even do for you and say, listen, did you know this vehicle of yours is under a recall for the airbag? And Pam, you and I talked during the week. This is something most people don't understand. There's only one place that the recall can be performed, and that is where?
At the dealership. And when you go in there, you tell them you want this performed. And they're going to say, well, do you want a safety inspection, or you do for service A, service B? And you say, no, I'm here for the recall.
That's right.
The recall only.
That's right.
So make sure that, another thing that's a good point, Honda, right now, they're in the process. In fact, I got one through the mail. There's a little mini poster that they're sending out to the independent mom and pop shops that they're hoping the independent mom and pop shops post this, that actually tells the Honda owners to make sure that their vehicle isn't under recall.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. Yeah, that's great advice. But back to your comment a moment, I just want to make sure everybody's clear on this too, because I know as a fleet operator, and I've had trucks under recall and things like that, and was a shop owner for years and years, so I know some of this and how it works. But to your point, when you go to take that vehicle in for the recall, need to make sure that on the paperwork when you're dropping it off, that the price to do that is absolutely zero, no cost to you, so there's no surprises when you pick up, because as long as you sign it with a zero, even at the end of the day, if they come back with some $35 or $40 inspection that they want to charge you for, Pam, it's an automatic no. I signed up for $0, recall only, I'm not paying a dime, give me my keys.
Exactly. You make sure before you sign on the dotted line it says zero, because unfortunately there are some out there that they'll talk to the consumer and they'll say, "Well, I thought you wanted us to do this,
right?
So I thought that's what we were in agreement." You know, you make crystal clear that it says zero.
That's right.
Is there a website or something that you can find out if the car has already had it done?
The safercar.gov.
Okay.
Or if you don't go online, go call your
dealer.
dealership.
Yep, and they can plug it in for you.
They'll tell you.
So it'll be done under like VIN number?
Yes, all on VIN number.
Yes,
exactly
all
right.
under
Okay.
VIN.
Yep. Pam, this is great information. There's going to be more stuff coming out in the future. This will be the largest recall ever in the history of the United States once this is all said and done.
I believe you're right.
Yep. Big deal.
I believe you are right.
Big deal. So,
Big deal.
all right. So, Pam, you've also got a book that you wrote. Why don't you tell folks about that and where they can find that real quick?
Well, thank you. Yes, actually, I wrote a couple under Car Care for the Clueless. First one is How to Make Money While Maintaining the Vehicle. The second one is Successful Used Car Buying 101. And the third coming out shortly here is Never a Stupid Question, all under Car Care for the Clueless.
That is actually one of the promos we use here on Drive Radio. Is there's never a stupid question, never a dumb question, because if you don't know the answer, somebody else probably has that same question, and we want to make sure that we get it answered for you, because the automotive world, Pam, as you know, can be very scary for a lot of individuals. It's not to you and I, but it is to a lot of individuals, and we want to try to take that out of that, take that, that scariness, if you would, out of it, because it's really not a big deal. It's just a mechanical device we have to take care of.
That's correct.
Yep.
Can she give the website again?
Pam, real quick, can you give your website one more time?
Sure, it's CarCare, the number 4 Clueless.com. CarCare, the number 4 Clueless.com.
Okay.
What was SaferGov or?
And the other websites, we've got some folks calling and asking. So the other website to find out if your vehicle is involved in a recall is safercar.gov. So safercar.gov. And I tell you what I'll do. I'll put that up on our Drive Radio website a little later today once I get home. Pam, in the meantime, I really appreciate you coming on with us. As I've said earlier this week, anything that comes up in the future, let us know. I'll get you on both shows. We'd love to have you back.
Sure will. Thank you.
You're very
Take
welcome,
care.
Pam. Appreciate it very much. Ralph and Carter, hang tight. We're going to come right back. We've got one line open, 303-477-5600. This is Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. The
Guys, this is that long break. It's like a little over 5 minutes if you need.
local BG Products distributor. Back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. Did you know that diesel fuel can have a BTU content, or the thermal energy in the fuel, varying as much as 15 to 20%, depending just upon the retail location from which it's purchased? How can this be? Well, there are a number of factors that come into play. Retail diesel fuel is comprised primarily of 3 different types of fuel, the first being a standard number 2 diesel fuel. In cold weather climates or in winter conditions, number 2 diesel fuel is often blended with a number 1 diesel fuel, commonly known as kerosene. Additionally, modern retail fuels contain as much as 20% synthetic diesel fuel formulated from the refining of biomass. This is what we call biodiesel. A recent test of diesel fuel samples from across the state of Colorado has shown an API gravity varying between 36 and 44. This swing can affect vehicle performance and fuel economy by as much as 15 to 20%. So what do? Well, it's important to understand that where you buy the diesel fuel matters. You need to ask the retail station the percentage of biodiesel in the fuel, and in winter months, ask the percentage of number 1 diesel blended with the fuel. And ensure that you always treat your diesel fuel, both summer and winter, with the proper additives, such as the BG Diesel Fuel Conditioner Plus. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG Products. We'll talk to you again next week.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you've tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada. Or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, 303-422-1065.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive,
15 seconds.
They would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush, Drive Radio, Jeff Kitty, KLZ 560. Ralph in Lafayette is joining us next. Ralph, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Oh, I've got a 2014 Civic, and I see you just gave us a summary of the 16 Civic touring on your website.
Correct.
Got a question. I just had a code B1 on my computer, and it was change the oil and rotate the tires, and I did that. So I decided to look through my owner's manual to see what else I might be missing. And I came across the CVT transmission, which you're very familiar with, I assume.
Yep.
Well, the thing that confuses me is it says, check continuously variable transmission fluid monthly. Have your dealer do it. That's it. You're kidding me. Monthly, I'm to go into my dealer and have my transmission fluid checked.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. Not going to happen. So I just looked at it. I said, maybe there's a stick in there, you pull out and you can check your own level.
Nope.
There's a plug with a nice wire that looks like it goes down, and it extends about 1/4 of an inch into the cavity. So there's nothing there.
Yeah. And you know what? They're going to check. They're going to drive it, charge you, say, yeah, it's good to go, and off you go, because they're not going to do anything with it either.
How can they charge you for that or warranty? I mean, is that
no, if it's a maintenance item, they're going to charge you for it unless it's a warranty item and you've got some sort of a problem with it, shifting, something along those lines, or, the way the transmission is acting, I should say, functioning. No, if it's just a maintenance item, they're going to charge you.
Well, I'm going to say it's stalling or not. It's surging, so maybe that something. What's going on here? check it monthly at your dealer?
Yeah, good question.
Scam?
There's nothing really to. Here's the reality: if the fluid hasn't leaked, the vehicle is still shifting fine, and the transmission is operating properly, there's really nothing to inspect, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, if it's leaking, you can see the drip.
Correct.
Should
be able to burn it. I guess it can't burn it.
No, it'll drip. You won't. Yeah, it won't burn it. You'll see physical leakage. Now you have to be a little careful on that because there are under shields and things where, depending upon how much it's leaking, you may or may not see it dripping on the floor. Wouldn't be a bad idea just periodically crawl underneath there with a flashlight, make sure you don't have any leaks or anything along those lines. But you're driving a Honda, the chances of that are pretty minimal anyways.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to harass him just for fun.
Okay, go for it. Let us know how it comes out.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, appreciate the phone call very much. Let's go to Carter, who's next in Commerce City. Carter, welcome.
Yeah, so I have a 2000 Grand Cherokee. It has a low-end rod knock because the 8th journal is messed up, and we were told that's probably because they ran it dry on oil, and we would need a new engine eventually.
Okay.
So we bought a wrecked 2002 Grand Cherokee Overland with the 4.7 high output. My 2000 has the regular 4.7 in it.
Okay.
So my first question is, are those engines compatible?
Should be. There's not to my knowledge, there's not a lot of difference in the 4.7 itself. Now, you're going to have to take all of your accessory components and so on that are on your 2000 and put onto the other engine because you're not going to want to swap the accessories and such off of the 02 onto it. That's where you may find some differences. Now, what I will tell you is, even during model years, especially when you go year to year, but even sometimes in the model year, you may find that there are holes that are not in the right place, or there are extra holes in places, and those are things you're just going to have to work through when you get into it.
Yep.
Okay, and so
what I mean by that is you may have a hole in the head on one engine and not on the other, and you may have to drill and tap one hole. I mean, sometimes it gets a little weird. You may be direct bolt in. I have no idea. I haven't done one of those swaps. I know the basics are there, and you should be fine. Computerization-wise, you'll be fine. You just have to make sure that everything will bolt back up accessory-wise.
Yeah.
Okay, so we keep the computer with the engine.
Well, the computer's in the car anyway, so you're just going to take everything off of the old engine, put it onto the new engine, put it back in.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, your best bet on that, what I've always done in the past, is set both engines side by side and just make sure that all the holes are there that you need.
Compare everything from one to the other. Exactly right.
There.
That's right. And take pictures, in your case, since you don't do this all the time, take pictures of everything assembled so you know how things go back together properly.
Okay.
Well,
that was it. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Carter. Take care. Appreciate the phone call. Let's do this. I believe Paul is up next. Paul, welcome.
Hey, how you doing there?
Doing great, sir.
There's a horrible accident northbound 25 just north of the 225. You might tell your listeners.
Okay, so repeat that again so everybody can hear that, Paul.
Northbound Interstate 25 just past the 225 transition road.
North of 225. Okay. Got it. Okay.
All lanes are blocked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So avoid anybody in that area. Avoid that area. Is southbound looking okay, and is it just a northbound affected?
Fine. Yeah, I just got off.
Okay.
I was headed southbound.
Okay. Perfect.
Hey,
Okay.
Great show you've got there. Both programs are very interesting.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. One of the comments earlier was there's some folks saying, well, today there's a lot of people that have cell phones, smartphones, and whatnot, but hardly anybody doesn't have one. And I just wanted to mention that Warren Buffett, who's a multi-billionaire, he doesn't have a cell phone.
That does not surprise me.
He doesn't need one.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he doesn't need one. He's got people to do things. He doesn't have to have a cell phone. He's got personal assistants.
He's got people.
Instead of cell phones, he's got people. You know, here's another interesting fact, Paul, on that probably most people don't know. Warren Buffett, I believe, still lives in the same home he's lived in for like the last, 40 or 50 years or some god-awful age.
And it's not a mansion.
No, it's just some regular old house in Omaha.
Yeah, and he drives a Chevy. He doesn't buy those fancy Lexuses, Mercedes.
No, is it a Chevy or Cadillac? Does he drive a Chevy or Cadillac? I can't remember.
Oh, it's a Cadillac. Yeah, he likes Cadillac.
I think it's a Cadillac, yeah. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. No, that's a good comment. I did not know he didn't have a cell phone, but that doesn't surprise me now that you say that.
Yeah. Well, listen, you have a great show. Keep it up.
Thank you, guy. I appreciate it very much, Paul. Thanks so much for that. We really appreciate it. Gene in Castle Rock, you're next, sir.
Okay, we got a quick, stupid question.
There's no such thing.
I have a 2012 GLK 350 Mercedes.
Okay.
I cannot find the oil dipstick on that car. Does it have one? Do you know?
It should.
Should have an oil dipstick. It might not have
Transmission. Yeah, transmission probably does not have, but it should have. Now, have you looked inside the owner's manual to see if it tells you where it's at?
Yep, I've Googled it. It shows that it's supposed to have one, and it is not there. It's got a green in the back rear, which is transmission fluid.
Really?
Interesting. Okay.
I'm just going to take it to the dealer and say, what's going on here? So,
well, it could be missing.
Could be missing, or there are some Mercedes that I do know don't have dipsticks.
Well, how do you check your oil level on the electronic thing up dash?
Yeah, can you check it on the dash? Does yours have an output on the dash that tells you what the level is?
I haven't looked. I need to.
I would look at that first. If you have that on the dash, you're not going to have a dipstick.
Why do they make a car without a dipstick?
It's a Mercedes.
Well,
I don't know. Okay. They're doing electronic. They probably figure a guy owning a Mercedes isn't going to check anyway, so here it is. We're going to put it on the dash for you. I don't know.
We get asked that question all the time.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
All the time.
Well, I mean, my last comment probably isn't too far from the truth. The average Mercedes owner is probably not ever going to pop the hood, so they probably figure, you know what, at least we'll put it here on the dash for them. We'll eliminate the stick, save a little money, and away we go.
Is it expensive? I mean, it uses Mobil 1. I mean, is it any expensive to get an oil change on that thing?
No.
I mean, you change a filter and put oil in it, right?
No, yeah, it's no different than anything else. Now, the dealer's going to charge you a lot more, but you can go to any one of our Color Select facilities and put a high-quality filter, full synthetic oil, and you'd be in fine shape.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Hey, guys, appreciate it.
You're very welcome. No, and that was not a dumb question, by the way, because there's a lot of cars now that don't have dipsticks.
Well, transmissions
have been gone for a while now.
Mercedes is the worst one.
That's right. And I just read something on the internet that said most likely if there is no dipstick, it's in the dash.
Whoa.
So there's your answer. All right, let's take a quick break. Dennis and Wayne, don't go anywhere. We'll come right back. We've got 15 minutes left of this second hour of Drive Radio. We'll be right back here on KLZ 560.
Right now in Napa, when you buy 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional oil for just $3.59 a quart, we'll give you either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Hey, wait, what? Well, that makes more sense. We'll give you a bobblehead of either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Valvoline for just $3.59 and a free bobblehead. That's Napa know-how. General States pricing, taxes and recycling fees extra at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 2/29/16.
Your wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Alvada West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all 4 wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Alvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at AlvadaWestAutoandTruck.com.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
The new gasoline direct injection engines, also known as GDI, are the hottest new improvement to horsepower and fuel efficiency in this century. Service professionals agree that GDI's unique power requires unique GDI maintenance. BG products has the most current and effective GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops, and they back it up with a lifetime BG protection plan. Go to bgfindashop.com.
5 seconds.
bgfindashop.com. If you have a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters. BG.
John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Jeff Kitty from Larry's Automotive and Transmission is also with us, and Wayne's been holding the longest. Let's go to him next. Wayne up in Greeley, what's going on, sir?
Well, John, my condolences to you for your family loss.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Wayne.
We always miss you when you're not on.
Thank you.
But anyway, I just heard you say that you were driving a Canyon now, and as you know, I got to Colorado.
Yep.
Are you driving the diesel or the gas?
The little V6 diesel, 2.8-liter diesel.
Okay.
Car works great.
I'm sorry?
Car works great.
I didn't hear if you had the diesel or the V6.
Diesel, the 2.8-liter V6 diesel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can read about that, or I can get that up on your website, right? And
Yeah,
you'll have it on there after you.
Yep, I'm going to do the
How long
review
does it
tomorrow. I'll try to get it edited and up tomorrow evening if I can, but I most likely will. I've got a Kia event that I'm going to Monday and Tuesday, so I'm going to do my best to get that up before I head out. And so I should have that up tomorrow night. And and I'll just tell you straight up, great vehicle. It drives well, handles well. It's smooth. That particular vehicle will tow 7,600 pounds, which is actually heavier than some of its half-ton counterparts that are out there. You know what? It's a home run. The car works great.
Yeah, I'd like to drive one sometime. I had a question on mine also. I noticed they've always, and it's always bothered me, they referred to this V6 as having spark ignition direct injection, which is SIDI, and I've heard your advertisement on there a couple times about GDI. What is the difference in the spark ignition and the gas direct injection? Is there any?
No. If it's direct injection, it's direct injection. It still has the injector right in the cylinder head itself, injecting it right into the combustion chamber. Now, how they time that and when it actually squirts has a lot to do with the definition of which one they're calling it. And honestly, Wayne, I'd have to do some research to figure out why one's called one versus the other. But direct injection is just an injector in the head itself.
Okay, well, I've always wondered about that. Well, thank you, John. I really enjoy my little V6, but I would like to drive that diesel sometime.
Diesel
and
works
that
really
wandering
well.
on the road over there that you had, you probably got what the heck? The one that the off-road type one, right?
I've got, let's see, this particular unit has pretty much all of the options. So it's an SLE, has all the options. You know what? I haven't paid real close attention to the tire that's on it. I'll do that and mention that. Well, I'll show that in the review is what I'll do.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because mine doesn't have, that's one of the things when I ordered mine, that's one of the reasons I didn't get to one particular, what the heck's that model they have that's a real off-road thing? I didn't order that, and the only thing it didn't and mine doesn't have that one has is those squirrely off-road tires and a skid plate over the transfer case. So
okay, got it. Yeah, got it.
And I put the skid plate on the other day, so I have that now too. But I wouldn't want those tires. Anyway, John, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I'm glad you're back, and thank you. I really thank Jeff too for getting on there. He does a good job.
He does.
Thank you very much.
Wayne, appreciate all your work, your kind words. Also, we appreciate it very, very much. Let's go to Dennis, who's up next. Dennis, welcome, sir.
Hi, Jeff and John.
Hey, man, what's going on, Dennis?
Hey, my condolences to you and your family as well.
Thank you, Appreciate Dennis very much.
He sure seemed like a decent human being.
He was.
He was a wonderful son-in-law.
He was a great guy, and again, pretty faithful to Drive Radio too. Overall, I mean, out of all of my kids, he's probably the most faithful, just because he's kind of a car guy like I am, and been on air with us a few times and really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, he'll be missed.
I'm sorry to hear. Got a question for Jeff.
Okay.
I've got a 2005 Tahoe with the 5.7 in it. And it seems like every little rise in the road, the overdrive wants to kick out. Is that just something built into the programming? And do you know of any computer flashes that might improve the drivability?
Well, the first thing that we would probably have to take a look at is find out whether it's actually the overdrive kicking out or the lockup converter coming off.
Okay.
Okay. GM, for whatever reason, they have a deal where they pull that lockup converter on and off when it comes up to a hill.
Okay.
For misfire reasons and other issues. But that's been an issue, so I would verify whether or not that's happening. If it's a lockup issue, there might be a flash out there, but I'm not 100. I never had to deal with that. I know that on my 2004, I have noticed that it feels like the lockup converter is coming off on it's just a gradual uphill.
Yeah, and my other vehicle is a 97 F250 Power Stroke, and as long as you got it over 2,000 RPM, it hardly ever kicks out of overdrive. So, every time the Tahoe does, I notice it.
Easy way to do that, and this is going to sound probably weird, is very lightly just touch the brake pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that pulls the lockup off, and see if it still does it.
That's a good point.
Okay.
If it still does it, then you could have a weak lockup, or not a weak lockup, but you could have something going on with throttle position sensor, map sensor. Any one of those inputs might be getting a little fuzzy. So you might have to have that looked at.
And while I'll get you guys on the phone, I've noticed a drop in gas mileage that may just be the winter blend, but is that generally a map sensor, or what might I be looking at with lower gas mileage?
It's tough because I've noticed lower gas mileage in mine, and I want to blame it on the winter blend, and I'm not 100% sure that they're still doing that.
Most likely is. The other thing, and it's not as big of a factor these last couple of weeks, but some of these weeks where things are much, much colder, keep in mind it takes a lot longer for it to come into the into the full closed loop where it's actually operating like it should be because the engine's colder, so it takes longer to warm up and so on. So all that also has a big effect on fuel mileage.
With this being the end of February, is that the end of the winter blend period for fuel?
I think we still have another month here in Colorado. Don't quote me on that, Dennis, but I think we do.
Interesting, because I drove by my favorite diesel station this morning, and overnight it went from $1.50 something to well over $2 a gallon.
Diesel overnight?
Really?
Yes. I was very surprised.
Yeah, I have no answer for that. Nothing's changed for it to do that. And the diesel doesn't really change much. In fact, if anything, it should go down as we get into summer because they get rid of some of the anti-gel as we move into the summer months. It actually should lower, not go up.
Interesting.
Well, and I bought diesel the other day. It was like $1.51.
Yeah, I'm paying even on a fleet rate. We're somewhere in the $1.80 range or so right now, Dennis. I want to say, but it can change depending upon when I get a load.
Sure.
But that overnight, I've not heard anything jumping up overnight like that. That is. Really, have you noticed it all around town or just in that one area?
Just that one station, because I fill up there quite a bit, and if I want to remember correctly, it was about $2.20 a gallon.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, that's high.
That's a chunk.
That's high. I don't know what's going on there. That's really strange.
And these guys are usually very reasonable. So
that sounds high. Yeah, I will do that, Dennis. I will for sure do that. Thanks so much for the phone call.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for the condolences too, Dennis. Appreciate you. And Dennis is another one that emails me a lot off air, and I appreciate it very much. So keep all that stuff coming. We appreciate it very much. All right, let's do this. We've got just a few more minutes left here for this hour, which is going to be tough to take any more calls. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. So real quick, back to our Wagoneer. I got to finish this. So our Wagoneer deal. Here's some options you can get from the Wagoneer World. I guess I'm giving these guys a free commercial, but Wagoneer World. Here's some options. Fuel injection, $3,000. They'll do a California emissions approved fuel injection also for $3,400. HEI distributor, $700. A receiver hitch on the back, $400. Now, they'll do some comfort and safety color-coded shoulder belts, rear seat shoulder belts, which they didn't have back then. Yeah. About $500 roughly. They'll do keyless entry, $425. Sunroof, $1,600. They'll do a sound system upgrade for about $300. And then there's a back-ordered custom third row seat you can get for about $1,500. Now, the one most important thing out of all of this that you should buy. Now, this isn't for everybody else listening, just you Wagoneer lovers. The very most important thing listed on this entire sheet of options is the extended warranty. For a total of $1,295. Yes, if you're going to buy that vehicle, you definitely would want to buy the $1,300 extended warranty. For all the reasons I've mentioned throughout the show.
You're going to get emails.
I will probably get emails. Now, some of you Wagoneer lovers, I'm sorry. More power to you. But let's do this. Third hour of Drive Radio coming up next. Anything you want to talk about, lines are open now. Let's get them loaded up. 303-477-5600. John Rush, Jeff Kitty. We'll be right back here on KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Hi, this is Scott Watley with Sportsman of Colorado. Join us every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Each week, we'll bring you local outfitters and experts on how to make your next outdoor adventure a success. Looking for a place to hunt on your own? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. And we'll also get you ready for the upcoming big game season. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
Is the United States in a constitutional crisis? Is an Article 5 convention the only way to restore our republic? Hi, Dan Moore here. On the next Rush to Reason, Professor Jenna Ellis will join me to discuss these issues. Plus, we'll take all of your calls on Denver's Afternoon Rush, Rush to Reason, every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560. USA Radio News with Melody Merchant.
Donald Trump is talking about his rivals ahead of Super Tuesday. Appearing on Fox News today, the GOP presidential frontrunner was asked about his running feud with Marco Rubio.
Well, he's desperate. He's doing very badly. They hate him in Florida. I'm up 20 points in Florida. They hate him there. He didn't even show up to vote. He couldn't get elected dog catcher in Florida.
Campaigning in Dallas yesterday, Rubio called Trump a con artist who would be beaten by Democrats in November. Rubio criticized Trump for misspelling words on Twitter and suggested the real estate mogul hired an illegal foreign broker to write his tweets. Taxpayers are being warned by the IRS that personal information of more than 700,000 accounts has been accessed in a 2015 cyber hack. The tax agency says information that may have been stolen includes Social Security numbers, birth dates, and other data that hackers could use to file false tax returns and collect refunds. This is USA Radio News.
Geico applauds your inner happy camper.
A merit badge of awesomeness goes out to the part of you that wants to put the recreation in recreational vehicle. The part of you that packs up everything and everybody in the RV and says, let's get this show on the road. Because Geico has specialized agents who help save money on more than just car insurance. Geico will insure that entire RV, so you can get the s'more making, poison ivy dodging, same song singing, ghost storytelling, campfire building, best time you ever had with your family, show on the road.
Geico for your RV. See how much you could save.
Any Jane Doe can tell you that Geico could help you save. But since money talks, we just ask the savings instead.
Greetings and some salutations. I'm James Money. And I never knew my self-worth until Jane switched her car insurance at Geico.com. Those 15 minutes built me up to real savings. Geico's been helping customers save money like me for over 75 years. So take that to the bank. And namaste.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. It's a quarter mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower. 500 pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance name is just what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. Jeff Kitty from Larry's Automotive and Transmission. And I was reminded a moment ago that I need to mention this. If it is Sunday afternoon, we're not here. You can call, but there's no one answering. So give us an email instead, drive-radio.com. In fact, I just sent a couple of text messages to some station folks here to remind me that we could actually insert some of that into our Sunday programming. But those of you listening on Sunday, first of all, thank you so much for listening. Our entire show now replays on Sunday, not from 10 to 1, but 11 to 2. So we appreciate everybody listening on Sunday. But again, you cannot call in because we're not here. We did it the day before on Saturday. But it's Saturday now. Call us. We have one line open, 303-477-5600. Kurt and Erie, you are next.
Well, we have a question about a street rod together, and I have a 400 Pontiac motor and a 204R transmission.
Okay.
And I want to know how tough it is to set up the TV cable. I do have a tri-power on it, but I bought a kit from Bowtie Enterprises, I believe it was. Gives you all the cable and brackets and all.
Got it.
So I've always heard it's really critical to set those up right. And I don't know if there's an easy way to do it, or do I need to have somebody that knows what they're doing, or what?
It's very, very easy. I'm not familiar with the kit that you've got, but the adjustment on those were basically automatic on the original equipment.
And if not, you just pull the way you work that is you put it down to idle. You pull the little tab up, you then run it to full throttle and push the tab back down, and it should be set at that point.
Oh, the tab on the
cable itself, up by the
linkage.
Yep, up by the linkage, exactly.
Okay, so you
and there's
put it all the way up,
and there will be YouTube videos all over the place on how to do that. Just pull one up, watch it, and watch somebody actually physically do it. And you'll know what to do.
Okay, I was led to believe it was a lot tougher than that.
Nope.
That doesn't sound too bad.
They're not.
And also, I was going to ask what you think of that. I bought a DCI lockup kit for that since I don't have a computer. Those pretty reliable, or do you know?
They work well.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen them used on a lot of them as long as you install them right and do everything that they tell you to do.
Nothing wrong with them at all.
They work well.
Yeah, I think I got it right. I'm pretty sure anyway. So okay, well, I'll look on YouTube, but that doesn't sound too bad.
No, you'll be fine with that, Kurt. No problem. And if you have any trouble with that, let me know, and I can send you one. If you can't find what you're looking for, let me know. Send me an email. We'll help you that way too, if need be.
Okay.
All right, Kurt. Thank you so much. We appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Gary in Longmont, who is next. Gary, welcome.
Hi. I have a 79 Firebird. I'm trying to diagnose a little bit early lock-up rear wheels on four-wheel disc brakes, original equipment.
Okay.
Have any ideas? I've looked for residue. Can't find anything similar to what we used to do with the drum brakes, looking for any leakage. And
well, let's start. Let's start with
new fluid in anyway.
Let's start from the top. What's it actually doing?
The rear wheels are locking a little bit early under a hard stop.
Okay. I would probably be looking more at proportioning valve, master cylinder, more so than I would in the back at calipers and pads and such.
Is there a way to check the proportioning valve?
With gauges, yes. A way to really check that would be to put a gauge on the front line, a gauge on the back line, and then see what your pressures look like, and then determine if it's working like it should be.
Okay.
But you need to find somebody with a good set of brake gauges that can help you with that, or buy a set.
Understand.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. That's to me personally, that'd be the first place to start, so you really know where you're at with it.
Yeah, I hear you right and understand what you mean it that way.
There you go.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Gary. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's go to Gene, who is next. We've got a line open, 303-477-5600. Gene, welcome.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Well, thank you for calling us.
I have a 1970 Ford Mustang, and I've had numerous neutral control switches in it over the years.
Okay.
But my mechanic says it's not this. I'm trying to start it, and sometimes I have to put it into like park or neutral or drive, and then it'll start.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know which transmission that's got in it?
It's an automatic.
Okay.
What engine do you have?
302.
Okay, so it's probably
a C4.
Probably C4. Mm-hmm.
It could be that neutral safety switch is, I don't want to say worn out, but it could be getting loose.
Okay.
Where are you located at?
Denver. North Denver.
If you're anywhere in the Westminster area, I'd be more than happy to take a look at that, because there's a couple things that can go on with that. Sometimes the crimping on the neutral safety switch will go bad, and it'll loosen up that switch, and you can actually pull the switch off and recrimp it, and it'll take care of that problem.
Okay.
But they were known for going bad.
Is that a daily driver, Gene, or just something you drive when the weather's nice?
Daily driver.
Daily driver? Yeah, I would say just take it on over to Jeff, then let's get that done fairly quickly, where you can get that done so it doesn't leave you stranded.
Could you, what is his address?
7231 Bradburn Boulevard. That's in Westminster.
Okay, what's the name of his shop?
Larry's Automotive.
Larry's Automotive? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll see if we get... Do you have a phone number to that, too?
303-427-2108.
2108. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome, Gene. Thanks so much for calling in. All of the sponsors of Drive Radio, including Jeff, are listed on drive-radio.com. All of our member shops are listed there. You can find their location, their address, and then all of our sponsors are on the main front page, and I would encourage you all to please use each one of our sponsors. And speaking of that, one thing I need to mention really quickly here is, I'm going to do this a little longer today because I owe them for lots of things they've done for me. Lone Tree Vet out here in Lone Tree, so right off of Lincoln and I-25.
Yep.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Took my dog Daisy out there, and I think I've told this story before many times, but she got to the point where she couldn't walk anymore. And we weren't really sure what was going on. Took her to our normal vet up in the Boulder area, and they wanted to do different things and prescribe some medication to start with, and let's try this, and let's try kind of one of these, well, let's try this and see what happens. Well, I finally said, you know what, I'm going to go down and see Dr. Moyle. He's an advertiser with us. I want to find out exactly what's going on. So we took her down there, and it didn't take Dr. Moyle 10 minutes to say, here's what's going on. Now, he did x-rays and everything else, but literally he just looked at her and said, here's what's happening. She's got both ACLs torn, and here's what we need to do to fix it. And I thought, ACL, dog, torn, 10 years old, is it worth fixing? Well, they convinced us that yes, it is. And she's got a lot of life left, and this will be the best thing you ever do for her. And the fact of the matter is, that's exactly what happened. We did all of that. They fixed her up. She's doing fantastic. And what I will tell you is anything at all that you need with your pets, Lone Tree Vet Medical Center will take care of you. Their phone number is 303-708-8050. Nancy and Dr. Moyle, they are just fantastic. They've been long-time Drive Radio listeners, supporters of Drive Radio. And here's the other thing, folks, and we talk a lot about this with them, internally. Those of you that have pets, don't put your pet on your lap. The last thing you really need to do is be driving down the road with your pet on your lap and have an airbag go off. Because if it does, your dog's dead. I'm just being frank. That's what will happen. You need to have them in properly. We've actually got another sponsor that we're talking to that actually has restraints for dogs. We're going to try to get on board with us here on Drive Radio. But what I'm telling you is Lone Tree Vet Center, Lone Tree Vet Medical Center, I should say. Everything you need to do, one-stop shopping. They'll take care of your cat, your dog. Everything is on site, from advanced dentistry to the diagnostic lab to digital x-rays, ultrasounds, orthopedic surgery. They'll do swim therapy. You name it, it's all right there. Find them at LoneTreeVet.com and call them today, 303-708-8050. Let's go to Kevin, who's up next. Kevin, welcome to Drive Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
Quick question for Jeff, because he's the transmission guy. I still have my son's 2000 Montero, four-wheel drive. I believe the computer for the transmission has an issue. Does his shop, Larry's, do they have the capability of doing anything with that computer to see if there's an issue? With that, basically what has happened, I'm on transmission number 3, and they go into the fail-safe mode. All 3 transmissions have failed almost in the identical time and identical area on the interstate. So I'm thinking there's a problem with the computer in that.
How many miles?
It's got 100,000 on it.
And you've had 3 transmissions done on it?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, everybody wants to put a new transmission in it at a cost of $4,000.
I'm guessing it's not a transmission problem. You've got something else going on.
Well, there could be a couple things going on. When they fail, what do they do?
2 to 3 times I was in the vehicle and it failed. Basically, either it popped out of overdrive and violently downshifted. The four-wheel drive light would flash. The check engine light came on. While we were still driving, it would actually drive, but we'd get to the top of the ramp and it acted like it was locked between 2 gears.
Okay, so it could be a hydraulic failure then inside. I'd really have to take a look at that. We haven't had a whole lot of problems with Mitsubishi Montero. To be perfectly honest with you.
I see.
I'm not aware of that particular failure, but I would be very critical of cooler flow on that.
Okay.
And not getting enough cooler flow, and possibly overheating the transmission be one of my guesses.
That would make sense.
If they haven't replaced the cooler when they did the transmissions,
they didn't. No, I had a friend of mine who has a shop down here in the Springs, and he replaced that for me. So we didn't do anything with the trans cooler. Now that I think about it, he did pull a trailer at one time with that.
There you go.
A U-Haul trailer. And, okay, is there...
And honestly, Kevin, this is one of those where we're getting into kind of the weeds here. Why don't you give Jeff a call this week and you two get together on this? Jeff, give him your phone number.
303-427-2108.
And why don't you two get together this week and kind of get to the bottom of this, because it sounds like you got a lot more going on than we've even got time to handle here today, Kevin.
You give me a call on Monday and I'll see if I can't help you out. There's a couple of things I would highly recommend. One is getting a cooler flow test done on it and find out what it's doing while you're driving it.
Okay. All right.
And go from there.
We'll help you out with that, Kevin. Appreciate it. We got to run to a quick break, though. We'll be right back. Tony, hang tight. We'll get you next. We've got a line open, 303-477-5600. John Rush, Jeff Kitty, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
When the temperature starts to drop, it helps to have a legend under the hood. No, not the kind that swings a giant axe and enjoys the camaraderie of oversized cattle. We're talking Napa Legend and Legend Premium Batteries.
And this is a quick break. We've got about a minute.
Piece of car by mail. That's $20 back, and the comfort of knowing you're riding along with a real legend. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores, while supplies last. Offer expires 2/29/16.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely.
15 seconds.
Sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
And this is John Rush and Jeff Kitty, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Bob in Centennial is up next with us. Bob, welcome. What's going on, sir?
We just got we're talking about the airbag recall.
Yes, sir.
We got just a letter from Subaru recently. We have an 08 Subaru Outback.
Okay.
And it says, Subaru is expanding a previously issued recall to include additional vehicle. Yours is among those added in the event of a crash necessitating deployment of a passenger airbag. The inflator could rupture.
Okay.
The metal fragment striking vehicle occupants.
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. That's a Takata airbag problem, and get that in and get it fixed.
Well, listen to this. We are currently experiencing a parts shortage. We do not know when these backorder parts will be in. Until this repair is performed, do not allow passengers to ride in the front passenger seat. Now, I mean,
it's asking a lot.
Yeah, I mean, for something that could be another 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, I would keep driving. I'd still put somebody in there. Just be careful while you're driving. Pay attention to what's going on. It's a frontal crash that's going to set that bag off. So, you're in control of that as a driver as much as anyone. Just be extra careful.
So what do you get, just a bunch of metal fragments? Is that
correct? There's the potential for some metal fragments coming out of the airbag inflator that can then cause, skin abrasions, cuts, things things along those lines. I mean, there's been a few isolated cases of death, but it's really more of just the shrapnel that can come out.
So if you would not hesitate to have people ride in that passenger seat?
I wouldn't, but I can't tell you what to do, of course, legally. Yeah. It's your call.
Okay. So I wasn't aware that recall spread to Subaru. I thought it was more Honda.
No, it is. Takata has made airbags for literally almost every manufacturer that's out there. They are the largest airbag maker in the world.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, they kind of leave you hanging, but
yes, they do.
You might be interested in hearing that response from the Subaru dealer.
Yep. No, that is the case. So you're on the right track, Bob.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks. Enjoy your show and all the good input.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Tony in Golden, who is next. Tony, what's going on, sir?
A relative of mine ended up with a 1972 Ford product, four-door vehicle, but it hasn't been run since 73. It only has 93 original miles.
Wow.
We've been in an argument over about the zinc in the oil and what to start it with. He has a museum that's interested in it out of Connecticut, but it's they did a Marty report on it. It's 1 of 1 because they ordered it with a 429 Cobra Jet engine. It was in a small town in Colorado. The sheriff ordered all this, and then we had the gas crisis. And his dad bought it off a dealership, and then they parked it. But I told him that he shouldn't start it until they find out from VG or product or something that put in it, because with the oils all being different in the zinc and the valve springs being set at one place for that long, is it better off not to start it at all?
No, you could still start it. What I would do with it is drain all the oil out of it, put a good, late model oil that we have right now. In fact, I would put a diesel oil in that if it were me, use a 1540 weight diesel oil. And
you got the zinc in it then?
It does have the zinc in it. You don't need to run any other additives in it at this point. So here, follow through with this. So, get it all changed, put a new filter on it. Then you want to prime the engine. So you want to get the engine all primed up, make sure it's got pressure. In that case, you're probably going to want to pull the distributor, run something down into the distributor itself so you can actually get to the oil pump, get the engine all nice and primed up. So you've got good pressure everywhere. with the sitting this long. Believe it or not, though, even with the sitting this long, there still will be oil in some of those passages because it doesn't go anywhere unless it's been cleaned out. The oil will still be there. So you want to get all that primed back up, and then, of course, get all fresh fuel in it, and you know what? It'll fire right up.
What about soaking the carb and stuff in some kind of a product? Or
I wouldn't worry about it. With it being that old and knowing that it hasn't run in that amount of time, it's not going to need anything.
And it's, like I said, it's got 93 original miles.
I would venture to guess that the gaskets and everything in the carb are all still good because it just hasn't had, the gasoline evaporates, so there really hasn't been anything there to actually affect all those gaskets and seals. Some of the rubber may have dried out, but even that's probably doubtful. I would try to start it and see what it does first.
Okay, and fuel, it'll be fine with this today's fuel? Or?
Well, you don't have any choice. That's all you have. And it will be fine. I mean, I run today's fuel in my old 68 Grand Sport, and it still runs on it just fine, so you won't have any trouble that way. What model car is it?
It's actually a Mercury Montego.
Mercury
Montego. The rear end's got the nodular, like out of a Bosch 429 Mustang.
Yeah.
It was all special ordered, and then they got mad because it cost so much, and they parked it, and then his dad ended up with it. And then,
interesting. Yeah, the car's probably worth some money to the right guy, I would venture to guess. I don't know much about those.
They offered him 10 times what they valued it for, and then he did some more checking, and there's actually auctions that are called only new once, and it's like the newest trend on these collectors. They don't want to. It's like
they don't want to touch the car. In fact,
the thing in Nebraska really set it off. That dealer that was in Nebraska a couple years ago that had those
Chevy dealer. Yeah. The one thing about that you might want to check even before you go through, trying to start it and run it and everything, is you might check with some of those sites and so on. You might be better off not doing anything with it at all, even trying to start it. You may be better off just selling it exactly like it is.
That's what our argument was. I said, you're better off just to. It's a museum piece, so
yeah, I'm not sure. As much as it's a temptation as a car guy to get the thing up and running and hear it and drive it even a little bit before you go to sell it, I don't know value-wise if I would. I think I would sell it as is.
Yeah. Like I said, they offered him over 6 figures for it.
I'd sell it. I wouldn't dink with it. I wouldn't do a thing to. I wouldn't buy 1 penny for the car. I'd sell it just like it is and be done with it.
All right, good call.
Take the money and run. You got it, man. Take care. Appreciate the phone call. Those are very interesting, by the way. They don't happen that often. Gary in Littleton is up next. What's going on, Gary?
Yeah, hi. I've got a little mystery that I'm hoping you guys can point me to where to start. It's a 97 Infiniti QX4. It's been an amazing vehicle. It's always run. It's my mother's, but she's driven it all over the country.
Okay.
Yesterday, got in it it just wouldn't start, like it wasn't getting gas. Then let it sit overnight, and this morning I got in it and tried it, and it seemed like it didn't want to get gas, but then finally just pressed the pedal, got it some gas, and it started.
Okay.
Then it won't start again. It's like but I'm not sure where to go first.
Okay, next thing I would do with it, because that's essentially the Pathfinder version of an Infiniti Pathfinder version, I should say. Nissan. What I would do next is cycle the key several times and see if it'll start. So in other words, get in the vehicle, turn the key to the start or to the on position, turn it back off, turn it on, turn it back off. Do that about 3 to 4 times. See then if it starts. If it does, it most likely has a fuel pump problem.
Pump, not relay.
Not relay.
Likely to pump.
Most likely, and with the age of it, most likely needs a fuel pump. I'm guessing, but at the age, knowing the year and so on, probably does.
There have been some when she would turn it off. Sometimes it would sit after she turned it off, and it would have this whirring noise.
Okay.
Sometimes it would kind of have a fuel smell afterwards.
I would, honestly, as far as continuing to drive the vehicle, if you're going to keep the vehicle, maintenance-wise, put a fuel pump in it.
Yep.
Okay.
You're at that age anyways, you just need to do it.
Okay. Fantastic.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for the phone call. Let's take a real quick break. We'll come right back, and we got a line open, 303-477-5600. Don't go anywhere because it's Drive Radio coming right back, AM 560 KLZ.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes good combustion, which saves cash at the...
Yeah, he's on one. My bad.
compression when piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product that cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as an engine performance restoration that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find a shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You will find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket when you clean your engine with BG.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Your shocks not only absorb bumps, they also put pressure on your tires, keeping them in firm contact with the road. Any Colorado Select Car Care Center will gladly inspect your shocks and struts, and they will never sell you anything you don't need. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism in our drive-line belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts. This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today,
15 seconds, guys.
2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
All right, Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, Jeff Chitty from Larry's Automotive and Transmission. And those of you that keep asking what his phone number is, it is 303-427-2108. Our number here to the studio, 303-477-5600. Call us with anything you want. As soon as somebody drops off, call us because the lines are full. Max in Denver, you're next, sir.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I've got an 05 Tahoe that I've owned for a few months. Actually, thanks to you guys, I was listening to you guys talk up the Chevy Tahoes, and so when I was out shopping for a car, I bought one. Love it. When I bought it, though, the RPM gauge and the speedometer didn't work, and that really didn't bother me. And the battery gauge did not work.
Okay.
But now all of a sudden, my oil gauge is kind of going all over the place. I'm wondering, is this the gauge? Or
yeah, put a cluster pack in it. Just put the whole assembly in it would be the way to do that. You can get that repaired. I think Napa even has an exchange program on those where you could do the whole thing through them. That's what I would do.
Oh, okay.
And they're not hard to change, by the way. You could do it yourself. They're pretty easy.
Okay. Sounds great.
They'll need the VIN number and the mileage to do the swap. But once you give them that, they'll do it all, and away you go.
So you're saying they'll just trade it out?
Yep.
It won't cost me anything.
That's right. Well,
it'll cost you.
You'll have cost you for the assembly, but you won't have to do anything other than just pull it out and give it to them and get another one back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Real simple.
And then also there's another thing. My 4-wheel drive, occasionally the service 4-wheel drive will come on, and I'll turn on my car and it will have gone from 2-wheel drive up to the auto 4-wheel drive. and I push the button and it switches back, and then the service 4-wheel drive will go off for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, and maybe it'll pop back on for a minute.
Yeah. You need to get that checked out.
Yeah, that could be motor on the transfer case, could be the module, several different things there that can affect that. You could live with it for a while until it becomes such a problem that you want to finally get it fixed. But what I would do with it is as it's doing it, that's when you need to get it checked.
Yep.
Okay, and it seems, as I listened to you earlier, it seems like Larry's shop is not too far from here.
Yeah, they can take care of you. You bet.
We could take a look at that for you. Be more than happy to.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote down your number just for that.
Okay.
So
well, thank you very much,
guys.
You bet, Max. Thanks so much for the phone call. We appreciate it. One line open now, or sorry, 2 lines open. 303-477-5600. Simon in Thornton is next. Simon, welcome.
Hi, John. I just want to update you on for the gentleman that just called in for the airbag recall.
Yes, sir.
I got an 07 Corolla, and it probably the same problem. And I just received a notification this week that the part is ready to. So it's just a matter to make an appointment and bring my car in.
How long did you have to wait to get that part in, Simon, or do you know?
Oh, probably 4 or 5 months.
Okay, so what you're saying is on the other caller, go ahead and get the appointment made so you get in queue so you can get your part.
I don't know about Subaru. Mine is Corolla, but Subaru maybe they hate to wait for that notice.
It's all going to be about the same because they're all coming out of the same company.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that's good information, Simon. Thanks so much.
Great
you bet.
show.
Thank you, Simon. Thanks so much for the phone call. We appreciate it. And thanks for the update. So there's an answer. There's a guy that had to go through and wait the process to get his airbag.
I wonder if you can pre-schedule.
Well,
like put your name on a waiting list.
I think what I would be doing if I had any of those, make a phone call, local dealer, get your name on a list, and get queued up.
Yep.
It's not going to happen overnight. You got, as you just heard Pam say earlier, Pam Oaks, this will end up being $120 million or 120 million vehicle recall. That's a lot, guys. This is going to go on for a while. So get in queue, get yourself ready to go because it's not going to happen overnight. Again, phone number here, 303-477-5600. Call us. We'll get you right on air as soon as we can. And Larry's queuing up calls as we speak, so we'll get you rolling here. So if you're calling in, be patient. Larry will get you going here as soon as we possibly can. 303-477-5600. And I want to again reiterate, Lone Tree Vet. I've got commercials that we're getting ready to do for Lone Tree, but until I get those ready, I have to do these on my own. So all I can say is if you've got a pet of any kind, literally small pets, and they don't do horses and the big stuff, but you know what I'm saying. All of the small pets, I would say, the family pets, they will take care of. And literally, they are like family. Lone Tree Vet Center, they'll do everything you need, really anything. It's all in-house. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 8, Saturday, 8 to 5, Sunday, 10 to 5, and they do pet boarding, pet grooming, pet training, you name it. They've got your pet covered. Call them today, 303-708-8050. Really, I can't stress high enough about what a great job they did for me, my family, our pet. Daisy is our dog's name. They did absolutely fantastic. So again, give them a call today, 303-708-8050. Make sure you tell them that Drive Radio sent you. Frank in Denver, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Oh, I got a 02 Chevy Suburban 4x4 Flex Fuel 1500. That's the 5.3 liter engine. It's got about 169,000 miles. And at idle, after it's completely warmed up, it'll just kind of go up higher and then come down, and then every 5 seconds or so it'll keep going up high and down. And I don't know, when I first got the vehicle, the oil on the dipstick looked like it was reddish. I mean, really red, like maybe rust to it too. But I don't know if that was rust in that oil. The oil was real good. I put it between my fingers. It wasn't rough or crusty or anything. And then I guess the other problem, I can't remember, but that was all it was. They give you that Magnatech castor oil, and they got a little thing on the 5-quart jug, and it shows the rough areas how your engine is, because it starts up in the first 20 minutes, then the other half it shows when you use that Magnatech. It's so smooth, you can't believe it.
So real quick, Frank, I hate to cut to the chase here, but what's your question?
Well, on that idle problem, is that because there's maybe some damage or something maybe in the engine, maybe causing it to drag?
No.
The idle motor maybe, or the
If you got to
sensors?
check engine light on.
No, there's not nothing on
No, if it's got a rough idle or even a searching, hunting type of an idle, that's not going to be from an internal engine component unless it's got low compression, bad vacuum, something along those lines, which I would highly doubt that it does. If it runs well, it's not using oil, doesn't smoke, I doubt that's the case. You really need to have somebody, Frank, go in, get that vehicle diagnosed, find out what's going on, put a scan tool on it, check everything there is to check, and then determine why has that thing got an idle surge.
Oh, okay, then. And I guess what oil should you be putting in that engine at that many miles?
Whatever you want to use.
10W30 Magnatech.
You want to use the proper weight, and really whatever brand you prefer. Honestly, I don't care. I don't think anybody else does. Use a good BG additive at that age. Yeah. You can find all of that on BG Products website.
BG additive, okay.
Put a BG additive in it, and you'll be fine.
You know what? I got a synthetic oil change with that synthetic oil filter right now. I bought it on sale for just $28. Wasn't that a sale? Okay.
Oh, yeah, good deal.
Okay,
Fred, thanks so much for the phone call. We appreciate it. Let's go to Dan, who is next. Dan, welcome. What's going on, sir? Oh, Dan.
Hello. I got a 98 Mazda B4000.
Okay.
And it's got 173,000 miles on it, but it seems like I'm losing. I know they're not gas misers, but, it's a 4.3. I mean, the 4-liter fuel injected,
Right. Right, same as a Ford engine, basically. That's the Ford 4-liter.
Ford Ranger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Ford Ranger.
What kind of mileage are you getting right now, Dan?
Maybe 13, 14.
That's pretty low. It should do actually better than that. What have you done to it maintenance-wise?
I just had a shock. Okay, 2 years ago, they did all the intake gaskets.
Mm-hmm.
The manifold, all those, the intake manifold, they did all those, the EGR.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just did some more work on it, put another $1,000 in it. Radiator doesn't matter, but I did the radiator. They did that. And,
okay.
They wanted another $93 to, scope the engine.
Right.
And
so in that amount of miles, have you done plugs, coil packs, wires, fuel injection cleaning, anything along those lines?
BG. I run BG every year in it. The plugs are good. Just recently replaced those plug wires.
Okay.
Air filter, all that.
Okay. Next thing I would do to try to increase mileage, if it were me, is I would have somebody do what we call a motor vac on the engine, which is a decarbonization of the engine itself. And those are prone for some carbon buildup. It will affect, if you get carbon in it, it will affect fuel economy. And I apologize, Dan, I've got a really bad connection, so I'm going to drop you and then finish this. So go get a motor vac. Find one of our facilities near you. They all do this particular procedure. You can find them at drive-radio.com. Do a motor vac. See what happens after you do that. If you've done plugs, there's really not much else on that. That's really plugs and coil packs, fuel filters, some things like that. But that won't affect really fuel economy. I would look at the carbon on the inside of the engine, get a decarbon. Now, and Chris from BG is listening. He's probably going to know what I'm going to say next. Even though you've been using 44K on a regular basis, depending upon how often you're using that, though, with today's fuel, that amount of mileage on it, I would still get a motor vac done.
Yep.
Just because of the way they get on the inside. Now, what the carbon does and why it affects fuel economy is the carbon is like a sponge. People would think carbon sponge, that makes no sense. Well, the carbon is somewhat porous. It will absorb the fuel. It affects flame travel, power, how things work inside the combustion chamber. And most people, Jeff, don't realize this, but that carbon gets as hard as a rock.
Well, look at barbecue. When you put the fire starter on, where does that stuff go? It just goes into the...
That's exactly right. That's a great example. That's a good point. All right, we got a real quick email question that came in. 1999 Subaru Legacy 2.5 liter, close to 267,000 miles. Did get a rebuild at 100K, so basically 167 on the motor. The repair manual has a section for 100K maintenance to include the timing belt, check the valve adjustment. He did that when the engine was rebuilt. It was due to a burn valve. Is the valve clearance, or it says, is the valve clearance that may not have been checked the reason for a burned valve when the car is at 160,000 miles? Probably not. Probably not. The valve clearance typically won't burn a valve. It's more to have, the valve clearance is there more to make the engine run properly, give you the right distance, help with noise, things along those lines. I can't say that I've ever seen, Jeff, and you would know this as well as I can't say that I've ever seen an engine burn a valve because of lack of valve adjustment.
Normally it's due to lean running.
It's really about it. Yeah. The only thing that burns valves typically is being too lean.
Yep.
So I would look at that more than anything else. And I don't know that, Mark, I'm following your email thread quite all the way through. If you would, either call us or send me back another email. What's wrong with the car today? I need to know that to try to help you with this. So let's take our last break. We'll come right back. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Get in here at the tail end of the show, and we'll get your questions answered. Again, Jeff Kitty, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Check to see that exterior and interior lights work and headlights are properly aimed. You can do it yourself or have any Colorado Select Car Care Center take care of it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
Right now in Napa, when you buy 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional oil for just $3.59 a quart, we'll give you either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. And wait, what? Well, that makes more sense. We'll give you a bobblehead of either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Valvoline for just $3.59 and a free bobblehead. That's Napa know-how. General States pricing, taxes and recycling fees extra. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expired.
That's probably the easiest car you've had all day.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing. But most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead.
And do you know Scott's pre-recorded, right? Okay.
Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
This is John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, along with Jeff Kitty, and we've got a couple lines open. Call us. We'll get you on before the end of the show, 303-477-5600. Steven is up next. Steven, what's going on, sir?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I got a big block Camaro I've had since I was a 16-year-old kid, and I'm 58 now. But
you're a good man.
Block in a couple of years. Yeah, it's been a good car, but I put a big block in a couple of years ago, what it's supposed to have, and I put this brake-in oil in, and I've had no problems, driving it and breaking it in, but then I went ahead and changed the oil, and right after I changed the oil, it starts smoking until it warms up. And I don't know for sure if the rings aren't seating, if maybe I should put the brake-in oil back in or what.
How many miles or hours do you have on the engine since you built it?
Oh, I bet you I've tried to take it out when I could. I'd probably say maybe 50 hours.
That's enough. It should be broke in at this point at 50 hours.
Yeah, I would think. I took it out quite a bit, and it just started smoking after I took the oil out. And I took the brake-in oil out and put regular oil back in, and now it smokes until it warms up, and
it's kind of embarrassing. I mean, it does have one of them manifold risers, coil bimetal things for the choke. You know, that has to warm up until that thing takes forever to warm up. And
how much smoke's coming out of the back? And is it white, blue? What kind of smoke have you got coming out?
Yeah, I think it's kind of white, bluish. No, I think it's more bluish. I don't know.
Blue would be oil.
I try to, yeah.
Now here, the other thing to check on that is, I was just going to say, well, the other thing to check on that would be the valve seals. You don't think you've got a valve seal issue, do you?
Well, that's what gets me. Why would it do it only when it's cold, and then when it warms up, it's fine?
Because the valves will heat up a little bit, and they'll make a little tighter seal, so the oil can't come past the guides as easily. Who did the head work on it? Do you know?
I bought the motor from an individual. He wouldn't even give me information of who built it and all that. I just bought it kind of.
So it was totally assembled. You know, everything was in it. Heads were on it. Valve springs were on it. All of that, or did you buy it in pieces?
No, I bought it all together. This guy rebuilt it, and I bought it, and it had, and like I said, it didn't have any problems at all until I changed the oil, and that's why.
That's weird.
The only thing I can think of is I got to put that braking oil back in, but I don't know.
Yeah, that shouldn't make any difference. I think it's more coincidental than anything else. First thing I would do is let's do a compression test across the engine. See where you're at across the board to see where your compression is. Then do a leak down test and determine. Do you have anything leaking past the rings, the guides, the valves, things along those lines? That would give you a little bit more of an indication of what's happening. As far as the guides go, I mean, without taking a spring off, pulling the seal off, and feeling how loose the actual valve is in the guide itself, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Let me back up. If you've got good compression, and you don't see anything leaking, as far as a leak down test past the rings, you're probably going to end up going towards the guides at that point.
And they can do that without taking the heads off anymore. They can just do that by putting air inside the cylinders, can't they?
You can check them that way, but as far as repairing them goes, now putting new seals on, you can just pull the springs off and do the seals right in the car. But as far as putting guides in it, you'll have to pull the heads off.
Oh, the guides. Yeah, I forgot the guides. Oh, gosh.
If they're loose.
Didn't that just have the little O-ring seal?
They got an umbrella seal on those. They should have. A big block should have an umbrella seal.
Okay.
Because a lot of times you can fix a small block Chevy by using a big block seal, which is the umbrella that goes over the whole stem and then down over the crown of the head, where the valve comes up through the head. Depending upon, so here's the next question for you. How long ago was the engine built?
Oh, about 5 years ago.
Okay. And did it sit inside, outside?
Sat outside for about 2 or 3 years in the back porch.
Could be the seals are hard. Could be the valve seals have just gotten hard. And you could check that pretty easily. In fact, now that you tell me all that, I think what I would do is pull whatever valve cover is the easiest to get off first. Put air in the cylinder, pull the valve spring off, and actually look at one of the seals, feel it. You'll know what the rest of them are like based on that. If it's all hard and crunchy, I'd put some valve seals on it.
Got it. That sounds like the first thing to do. Probably the easiest. Too.
Yeah, I would think so. Those aren't too bad to do. You should be able to do that in the car. What is it what year Camaro is it?
68 SSR.
Yeah, there's a little more room in those. You should be okay doing that.
Okay, well, good.
Okay.
Well, I'll try that, John.
All right, Stephen. Let us know what happens and give us an update. I appreciate the phone call very much. Denny is up next. Denny, what's going on?
Hey, I'm just truck driver going through Denver there, going back to Kansas.
Well, thanks for your work. Without you guys, we don't eat.
Yeah, well, without one of you, we don't eat it.
That's right.
I got an I-7 Chevy pickup, Silverado 1500, two-wheel drive and all that. Bought one that's 4 miles, and it's got 260,000 on it, and it's been a good truck.
Awesome.
Everybody else has problems, so I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, those are good. That vintage of truck, pretty tough to beat. In fact, I'd be surprised to not see you run the thing, 350, 400,000. Those things were good. They really were.
Yeah, I use about a quart oil, about 5,000 miles.
Yep. They're good trucks.
It's just been a good pickup.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you listening. Denny, you can still catch us, online or via a TuneIn app on your smartphone when you're out of town. So keep listening to us. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I was wanting to know somebody said you could do something to the motor there to check it, the inside carbon buildup.
Yes.
do they have any dealers over on Dodge City that they would recommend or anything like that?
So say that again. You broke up for just a second there.
Dodge City.
Oh, in Dodge City?
Yeah, Dodge City, Kansas.
Dodge City.
Around that area.
I tell you what, call 1-800-LET-NAPA and find a local Napa Car Care Center near you, and you should be able to do that by just calling 1-800-LET-NAPA. That's the first thing I would do. The other thing you could do is ask your local Napa parts store who they'd recommend in town. Those guys typically know who the best techs are.
Okay, I can do that.
All right,
Appreciate
Danny.
it.
You bet. Thanks so much for
All right,
the
you
phone
guys have
call.
a good day.
You be safe on the road, too. Thank you. By the way, all you truckers out there, we got a lot of you guys that listen to us on a regular basis. And a lot of guys don't like truckers, but you know what? I do, because that means stuff's moving around. The economy's rolling. So you guys keep up the great work. Appreciate it very, very much.
God bless you guys.
Yeah, and be safe on the roads. And those of you out there driving, give those guys some room.
Yeah.
I drive enough miles now back and forth. I watch people, cut in front of trucks and cut off trucks, and I'm thinking to myself, you knucklehead, what are you doing?
Well, the thing is, you see this bumper sticker that says, if you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you.
And that's true.
That is true.
Doesn't matter what it is.
They have no idea you're back there.
Yeah, they have no idea what's going on. And give them some room. It's tough to slow down a rig that weighs that much. They're not like you. They, you just can't dart in and out of traffic. And, be careful. Give them some room. And, let them get that freight rolling around, because that's what it takes to, it's what it takes. All right, we got one last call coming in. Or actually, nope, Larry, you were just talking to somebody. What'd you do? Make them mad? Send them off? Larry says off air. Not everybody likes to talk on air. I get that, okay? You can always send us an email, by the way. And this is for you folks even listening on Sunday. Send us an email, drive-radio.com. Just go there, click on it, click on the contact us, fill it out. It runs right to us, and we'll get it answered as quickly as we can. It's pretty easy.
Just a joke. It was another friend.
Oh, it's just a joke. Just a joke. Okay, got it. All right, let's do this. We got a few more cars we can roll through. As far as economy cars to buy,
there you go.
Cost of ownership. And here's one that's going to surprise you. On a full size, best full size, cheapest owned over 5 years, Chevy Impala.
Doesn't surprise me.
Not bad, huh?
Doesn't surprise me.
So cost of ownership, $45,448. And that, by the way, is a really great car. Dan Muir, my co-host on Rush to Reason, had one of those for a while his car was in getting some repair work done. And he drove an Impala for a few weeks, actually several weeks. I think Dan fell in love with that car. Here, because he's a sales guy, so he's out traveling around, always has stuff in the trunk. He's like, this thing's got a huge trunk. The thing is absolutely enormous. I'm like, yeah, it's a good car. Really is. All right, got another email that came in here real quick. Let's see what this one has to say. This one says, on Subaru engines, they will burn exhaust valves. Yep, we know that. Most pronounced on cylinder bank 2 and 4. Just did one last week. Subaru engines years 97 to 99 with the dual overhead cam engines used shims on a bucket. Yep, and they're a real pain to adjust. They are. That is fact. Yep, they are. And they do burn valves. I don't know. Maybe somebody can answer this. It's probably because of the Boxer style engine must be why they burn valves worse than some of the other engines on the market. They must get hotter. Am I right in thinking that? I'm not a Subaru expert, so is that why?
I can't tell you.
Because a lay down type engine, is that why?
I would think.
Makes more sense. David, if you can answer that, I got to believe that's the reason, because of the lay down engine. They must get hotter on those cylinders. Must be why they burn valves easier.
Either they're not getting enough oil, or I don't know.
Or they're lean on those on those cylinders or something. I don't know. Again, I'm not a Subaru expert, but I do know they burn valves. That's pretty common.
Yep.
All right, next one, as far as most economical to own on the compact, or I should say sub-compact, sporty compact is what this says. 5-year cost of ownership, 2016 Ford Focus, $34,077. And I'm not a fan of a Ford Focus, but hey, it's on the list. I'm just not a Focus fan. I'm sorry. I'm not. Somebody's going to get mad at me for saying that, but I'm not a Ford Focus fan. Okay, so our comment back on the last Subaru, not the one from David that was talking about the why they burn valves. He said, I heard you on the radio. Car has 167,000 miles at engine rebuild. Now has 267. So the issue I'm having is ticking sounds coming from the left head. I've checked the injectors and the sound is not coming from them. My concern is that the ticking is valve slap or stuck valve. I do not have a check engine light on. Everything runs fine. When cold, the engine surges, almost quits, or split second when slightly depressing the gas pedal, then runs up above idle. I don't think the two symptoms are related. I would agree. I think you do need to get the valve lash adjusted, get that taken care of first, and then find out next what's happening, because I do think you have two different problems going on there. Is the TPS going bad? I have no idea. You're going to have to get that one checked. I would get the valve adjustment done first and then find out how the engine acts and responds after that. That's my recommendation. Your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, I would think that they'd ought to be able to check valve lash on that. Possibly.
Or just do them.
Yeah. Or it could be a flat cam, maybe. Cam going bad?
I guess it could be. It's got 100K plus on the engine, 167 on it. Hard to say.
It is.
All right. The next value when it comes to a sports car, 2016 Chevy Camaro, 5-year cost of ownership, $30,317. That's pretty cheap for a sports car.
Yeah.
You know that?
Good looking sports.
They must have the V6. Yeah, V6 engine. That's actually not a bad buy. Pretty good deal.
Yep.
One more. High performance car, 26 Ford Mustang GT, 5-year cost of ownership, $45,267. Now we have quite a few more of these to go through, which we didn't get, which we'll try to get a few more of these in next Saturday. But guys, with that, we got to get out of here. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here, John.
Been a blast. You can find Jeff Kitty, Larry's Automotive and Transmission, 303-427-2108. I'll be back Monday, Rush to Reason, so you don't want to miss that. Larry Unger, thanks so much for helping us out, and Mindy, our engineer. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy, and if it's Sunday, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If it's Saturday, you got a whole other day left. So, guys, with that, God bless you. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday right here on KLZ 560. This has been Drive Radio. John Rush, your host. We'll be back. Thanks for listening.
Still haven't had enough?